Let's call this meeting to order for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, I think as a preliminary matter, I know you've called the meeting to order and we've done the pledge, and after the roll call is established as a quorum, there should be a motion to appoint Trustee Pasmino as the chairman of the meeting, and then read into the record the actual notice of the special meeting.
Before we do that, though, invocation isn't on here, although if we could, can we just throw that in there as a moment of silence?
Certainly.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to go for the vote.
The clerk should call the roll.
Trustee Rogers. Trustee Reinders.
Aye.
Trustee Pasmino.
Aye.
Trustee Consolino.
Aye.
Trustee Fialco.
Aye.
Trustee Laha. And Mayor Yukich.
So there is a quorum, and now there should be a motion to have Trustee Pasmino act as the chairman of the meeting.
I'd like to make that motion to make Trustee Pasmino, who is Mayor Pro Temp, as the chairman of this meeting.
Thank you, sir.
I need a second?
Second. Who would like to take the second?
We want to do a roll call on it?
You can do a roll call or just voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations, you're the chairman of the meeting.
Thank you, Council. Appreciate it.
You should also now read into the record the notice of the meeting and establish that the members here did in fact receive notice, okay?
That would be this document here. Okay. Reading into the record the notice of special meeting of the Village of the Board of Trustees for the Village of Homer Glen. Notice is hereby giving pursuant to the Open Meetings Act that a special meeting of the Village Board of Trustees for the Village of Homer Glen is being called for Monday, January 30th, 2023 at 4 p.m. in the Village Board Room, 14240 West 151st Street in Homer Glen. The purpose of the special meeting is to conduct and act upon the business set forth in the agenda attached to this notice, signed by myself, Trustee Consolino, and Trustee Rose Reinders on January 27, 2023.
And Trustee Consolino, did you receive a copy of the notice? Yes. Trustee Pasmino, you receive a copy of the notice?
Yes.
Trustee Reinders, you receive a copy of the notice?
Yes.
Trustee Fialco, you receive a copy of the
Yes,
notice?
sir, I did.
All right, the members of the quorum and the board have all received a copy of the notice, so we can proceed with the meeting.
Thank you, Council.
I'd like to address Legislative Council. Before we get started, we're here because of minutes and where we're at in that position, I guess I'll say. When somebody is not present, should it not be, when we take the roll call, it does say who's here, but I did notice in our minutes, it never says when the person's absent. It doesn't say right after that. Like for the other two committees I'm on, if somebody's absent, they put it right after the people that are present. They put the ones that are absent and list their name. Would that be the right protocol to follow in the future?
At a minimum, you're supposed to list who is present at the meeting. Generally speaking, it's a good practice to indicate who has not attended, but it would have to be something that if it hasn't been done in the past, when each set of minutes is presented, you would ask that those who are present or those who are not present be identified in the minutes. It's not an absolute requirement, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Do you want to request that?
The only reason I ask is because other committees that I'm on, it does follow that protocol, but then I did notice it here so I'm just trying to find out what is the correct way. It would help me, in going through minutes, if you don't mind, to put right after who's here, if we could just put those who are absent. Thank you, sir.
And that is just reference to the trustees and the mayor, correct? Because we have
Right.
staff members
Yes,
who don't.
Any vote?
Board members.
Board members, okay.
I mean, it is in the
For each vote, because when we were double checking everything, it is those that are not present, it's listed for absent in the vote. But yes, you're right. It's not after that paragraph for roll call.
So you're referencing the top, not the
Yeah.
motion. 'Cause
Right,
it's in the
I'm referencing
motions.
roll call, those present, those who aren't, and then sometimes people come in a couple minutes late, and I know we do address that, so right at that point, when somebody was absent, if they show up, I would say right after that would be, okay, trustee Fialco showed up at 7:05.
I do that,
Kind of thing, right, I have seen
Yeah.
that before, so.
Okay.
Thank you, trustee Fialco, clerk Knightsky, and trustee Consolino. Appreciate it. So moving on to public comment. Any public comment? No public comment. Thank you, sir. Discussion and action items. 1, motion to review and possibly adopt the village board meeting minutes from January 11th, 2023. Village board meeting, that's today. So we have quite a few of them. So do I call out all of them, or do we go as
Ruben, before you start, I'm
You
sorry.
should probably go meeting by meeting.
meeting by meeting? Okay.
I-
Trustee Consolino, you had?
Just because there is no discussion, I have the complaint to the OMA, to the PAC counselors, so I wanted to submit that to the clerk, so that gets added into the meeting minutes, okay? And then I'll also send it to the clerk via email.
Did we want to have the spot also, legislative council, where we, if there's any trustees that do want to make a comment before we get started with discussion and action items, or is that not necessary?
I would probably do it so that if there's going to be a discussion, let's get it all out now, and depending on each, because we're going to go over each one of these one by one. Did you want to have discussion after each and every one, or just get one general?
I'm talking about the trustee time, the mayor time, the way we usually follow that protocol. I didn't know if Jennifer had something to say as to why we're here, just so the public knows why we're here. I didn't know if Rose or myself, so I think following the ordinance of our agenda would be best served. And right now, that would be time for, we have no public comment, right? So then it would be trustees' time, and I would just go through everybody like we normally do. If somebody's got something to say, then you will. If you don't, we'll pass.
Do you guys want me to read the complaint? Because I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Chairman Pazmino.
I mean, to be honest with you, we got quite a few items on the agenda, but I mean,
It's up to you guys.
you want to go ahead and, is it gonna take long, or is it a long?
No, I don't think it's that long.
All right, go ahead.
Here, hang on, I gotta get back from her. Going back to September, we had some discussions, both in person on the board and also via email, regarding issues that some of us had with meeting minutes. So once a tally was comprised in December, just figuring out exactly how many we were with outstanding, that's when I submitted emails to the clerk and then to staff, as well as an OMA complaint. So the complaint went out to the public accessor on January 4th of 2023, and this is what I wrote. As of 2022 was coming to a close, I wanted to ensure that our village clerk's meeting minutes for both our village board meetings and executive sessions were in order. When I attempted to do this last week, I was met with much opposition by the village clerk, Christina Netschke-Troike. Our village clerk's 4-year term will finish in April, and she is not running for this position again. Therefore, I felt that it was imperative that my board attempt to encourage her to finish her work before the April 4th, 2023 election. It wasn't until I made this attempt last week that I discovered that she has a number of outstanding village board meeting minutes and executive session meeting minutes. She had also failed in providing the executive session meeting minutes through 6-month reviews. When I pointed this out via email to the clerk, she threatened that our board was at stake for being in jeopardy of OMA violations. She did not believe that the 6-month reviews were necessary and referred to them only as best practice. She also ignored the fact that she had meeting minutes that had been outstanding for many months, up to one that was including 12 months. She was upset that the board members were not typing up their reports for her to copy and paste in the meetings. She made countless excuses as to why she could not complete the minutes or blame the board for rejecting minutes that were incomplete or inaccurate. The clerk has full accessibility to our video recordings of our village board meetings and full accessibility to our audio recordings of our executive session meetings. Prior to our clerk's 4-year term as the clerk, she was also a trustee. It's appalling that she would not have a concept of what her job duties were or are as the village clerk, or what is expected of her when recording and documenting our meetings. Unfortunately, we have a censured mayor presiding over our board who refuses to hold our clerk accountable, and therefore she does not feel obligated to complete her minutes in a timely fashion or in a presentable manner to our board. I am requesting review and assistance from your office to help enforce the job duties of our village clerk by the OMA statute. And then what I go on to do is just list the meetings that were outstanding. And then I also listed where it applies with the OMA violation in the state guideline, which is 5 ILCS 120-2.06A and B. So I'm not going to read all that. Anybody else have anything?
Oh, Chairman?
Thank you, Trustee Consolino. Trustee Fialco, or I'm sorry, Trustee Reinders?
No.
Nothing? Trustee Fialco?
No report, sir.
All right. As far as myself, I just pretty much wanted to go over every set of minutes, and if there was anything missing, we'd pretty much put it in at this point. On a few of these, it's probably better to send it via email, because there were some of these that had blocks actually that were not there, and hopefully it's something that we could settle in this meeting, is going forward, our recommendations on the type of minutes and notes taken that are a little more accurate. Maybe not verbatim, because that's almost impossible to do, but at least a summarized version on the reports and some of the line items. So that's all I had.
Okay, I'd like us to recognize the clerk also in the process.
Clerk Trachey, do you have any comments?
Carrie, you and I had a brief discussion on how you feel that minutes should be done. Would you care to share with them your thoughts on your opinion? And I also have the Roberts rules that I was referencing earlier.
You want my opinion on how the minutes should be done?
Yeah,
or you want me to, I mean,
well, you and I had brief.
the minutes are a history of the meeting, okay? Votes on motions should be accurately recorded. Ordinances, resolutions, their titles should be verbatim, whatever they are. And the votes on those should be recorded so that there's a clear record of who voted aye, who voted no, and if there was a majority in a particular area. Discussion items should at least be summarized so that there's an idea of what was discussed. It can be as simple as Trustee Pasmino made a determination that ABC should be adhered to by the village manager. Trustee Fialco stated that he was in agreement with that. Trustee Consolino stated that she had opposition in certain instances concerning whatever it is. Just to give a history of what happened so that when more than 2 weeks' time passes, if need be, the minutes can be referred to so that people can refresh their memories. If reports are given, there are a number of ways to, record the reports. They can either be summarized, they can be, if they're in writing, the trustee can ask to have their report incorporated into the minutes, or if a committee is reporting, they can either file their committee minutes with the clerk to be included as the minutes of their particular committee, or if they're reporting on the results of their committee meeting during the regular meeting, a summary of what they've reported can be included in the village minutes, and then their committee minutes can be attached. That's to me, the detail that should be included in the minutes. However, I've seen minutes where they've been much more detailed, and I've seen minutes that are very sparse, such as those that are often prepared, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, but by yourself, where it's very difficult to determine what went on at the meeting in general. So as far as Robert's Rules says you record who's there, you record motions, you record resolutions, you record ordinances, you record guests, you record votes, and summarize discussion on important issues. They don't go much beyond that, so it's really the protocol that the village board adopts and wants to see that's important. I've found that if some detail is provided, generally speaking, the minutes get approved, and there's no real difficulty. My understanding of the difficulty here, it's twofold. One, there is a volume of minutes outstanding. There are a volume of minutes outstanding, and two, there's detail that has not been incorporated that probably could have been had the minutes been presented in a timely manner.
I'd like to say summary is a word that leaves a lot of gray space, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it's reflected in what we've seen in the past, not just from this clerk, probably from all. So when we say summary, though, I'd like the summary at least to include the subject matter. I've seen things that it did the summary of what public comment was. I've seen some of the things were a summary of what the trustees have to say, where the subject matter wasn't even mentioned, and then we just kind of. So I guess I'm asking you, should it not at least include the subject matter, even though we're summarizing?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a summary of the discussion that was conducted on a particular item. I must have left that out.
You're referencing under a motion, correct?
No, I'm referencing when a trustee has trustee time and they have a report, that it, at least at a minimum, when we summarize that, this is public record, this is history. I guess that's the best word. This is history that's being basically etched into being put into the system. So, I mean, to know the subject matter that's being talked about by the trustee, I think is paramount to the phrase that's being put together as history.
Well, if it has to do, excuse me, if it has to do with a vote on a motion or an ordinance or a resolution, the subject matter of that is listed in the heading.
Yes.
And then the vote gives the final action by the particular board members. And that's really what needs to be incorporated in the minutes on that kind of a subject. If you're talking about on the reports given, as I think I indicated earlier, a trustee, Fialco, gave a report on the committee, what is it? The
Homer Fest.
Fest ANF.
The Fest Committee, and indicated that 3 contracts were signed with 3 performers to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's a summary of what your report was. If you have a written report, you can ask to have the written report incorporated into the minutes of the meeting. And then you can still read it, but then your report is attached basically as a supplement to the minutes of the meeting.
So if I'm to understand you correctly, discussion or debate, discussion, however you want to say it, after a motion is made and it's seconded, and we go into discussion, that doesn't need to be summarized. I understand. And I want everybody else, that doesn't need to be summarized, all that back and forth, or not back and forth, but our opinions as to why and how. But the vote then is counted, obviously. But this, when we summarize that, so you pretty much explained it. Hey, that's all I'm looking for today.
I mean, they can be as
subject matter is actually in there.
Yeah, they can be as detailed as you want them to be, but as I said, if you have a report and you really want it in there verbatim, then ask to have it incorporated into the record of the meeting. I'm sure everybody will agree with
That's why I always submit the
that,
reports.
and you move forward.
Okay, so,
Committee report, you can file your committee reports with the clerk.
right.
But in the case of, like, what would happen, like, in the case of a lawsuit? So if somebody came to us and said, well, we need to subpoena all the minutes, or, I mean, they're public records, so they could just get them off of the website. But if they come to us and say, well, you know, your minutes were very vague, so that's not going to help us in any kind of a lawsuit.
May not.
We have audio.
So they would definitely have to, they would have to depend on the audio or the village board meeting.
Well, what I would like to do is, right now, go forward, right?
Yeah.
We're pretty much correcting the situation.
No.
Yeah,
I get it, no,
I have
besides
one-
that, give me
one
one,
last
all right, go ahead.
No, why did I write the complaint? Because it was outstanding. So both by Robert's Rules of Order and by the Illinois General Assembly's provision on the Open Meetings Act, 30 days or the next meeting after. That's when that meeting has to have been typed up, submitted for approval. So as long as we're all clear on that, and that's why we have both, I had him print them out. Are we all in agreement on this? From here on out, it should always be done by the next meeting
Or 30 days.
or 30 days?
I can have it done by the next meeting. Here's my question. Moving forward, are you guys going to submit your reports, or am I going to continue to summarize?
I'll always
I've asked this
submit mine.
question when I first became a clerk, and Jennifer was the only one who said she wanted to submit her report verbatim.
I can go off of your summary. So what happens
And you're
is
fine
when
with
you
that?
submit the summary, I look at it. If I want to add something, I'll communicate it to you, and I'm sure you'll be more than happy to make the correction or update in the next board meeting, or perhaps before, which is kind of where I wanted to go with this, but I'll let you go ahead and finish if you had.
No, I was just going to say, because, you know, when I kind of gave my time to Carrie, where I was going with that is when I began when I became a clerk, I had to go to a beginner's clerk course. And in that, it says, do not type. And I have the books and I have everything in the office. I just got locked out, so I couldn't go back there. But it says not to type any debate, not to type any discussion. You write verbatim the motion and who voted what, which way, and that is it.
I think we're all on the same page with that.
But I just wanted,
there's any-
well, what I'm trying to go to is for reports, it says that if you guys wanted something submitted, that's, you know, like Ruben, for a perfect example, you said something was missing in one of the reports before. You're going to submit them to me from now on, what you want in there, correct? Via
Well,
email?
small corrections, but there's some reports that are completely missing, period. And, I mean, with all due respect, I feel like that is the clerk's responsibility to go
Right.
back, either take the appropriate notes during the meeting or go back to the video and take appropriate notes from that. Now, that was another thing, is for us to make sure that sound is on, because as I was going back to some of those videos, there was no sound.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
A lot of
Thank you.
there was, yes.
Yes, and
It was no sound.
that's why I constantly remind to keep your mics on, yes.
Right. So what I pretty much wanted to establish and set forward in this meeting is our expectations. And of course, you're the clerk, you decide ultimately how you want to put forward that information. But for the citizens, for historical value, the more information you could put in the notes, the better the summaries. We
Whatever you guys want.
very much appreciate
I'm
it.
happy to do it.
Thank you. So can we go forward with these, because I don't want to be here all night.
Nothing from Carrie, nothing from Carrie, nothing
No,
from...
sir, nothing from you?
Carmen?
Sir, nothing from you?
The only thing I'd suggest you consider is the Illinois Municipal League Handbook, which has a very detailed approach on this issue. And to give you just a snippet of it, this edition, which was
this one.
2021, published by the Illinois Municipal League, on page 222 suggests the minutes should generally consist of a record of what took place, nothing else. Speeches, discussions, or statements should not be copied into the minutes except when the council rules provide for statements explaining votes, when the council may so order in exceptional cases, or when such information is necessary to understand what took place at the meeting. Full text of communication, reports, etc., should not be included except in the unusual circumstances when the council instructs the clerk to include them.
That's what I have in the back.
And what does it state about the timeline?
The
talks about the 30 days, but it does not dwell on that. I'll give you a copy of this.
Well,
Which I'm fine with. The 30 days, we'll move on. 30 days is perfect. And I did actually have them all done in 30 days. There were things I was waiting on, and Carmen can attest to that my computer went out September 14th, and I didn't get it back until November 25th.
I think, Carrie, it seems there's a small contradiction. Can we clear up the gray area here?
Well, at this point,
it's
the
not great.
clerk
I'm
already said
good.
she was going to
Not
move
with you,
forward.
But with what he said and what we heard just a little bit ago, it doesn't seem like,
It's not really a contradiction. It's a matter of what this board wants in its minutes.
right, he did say what council wants, and this is
Right.
what we're establishing now.
Right,
Yes.
it wasn't established before.
And so some boards don't care. They just don't read their minutes. You know what I'm saying? Other boards want to see great detail. As I said, if you really want something incorporated if you have a written report, there's nothing wrong with asking that it be included as part of the minutes of the meeting. You don't have to do that, but it's really up to you. And in each particular meeting, sometimes matters come up which you want to have included verbatim. And there's nothing wrong with that, because then they're there. And what I've seen happen with committees is the committees meet, they adopt their own minutes, like your committee, and then you file your minutes with the clerk as part of the record of the meeting, of the committee meeting that you're a chairperson of.
One last question. Because we focus on public comment seems to have all the details, everything is in
Everyone,
there.
every
And this
single
is where
one.
I struggle. And when I say something, it's all, it's just a little fraction of this and a fraction of that. So when it comes to public comment, based on what he said for IML, it sounds like public comment doesn't even have to be included in the minutes, or is that not factual? Or where are we at with the public comment portion and putting it into our minutes?
You don't have to. You could just indicate that the people that made a public comment on whatever. Unfortunately, there's no rule that says you don't have, or that you have to, or that there's any detail that you have to include. I mean, people get up here and speak about all sorts of things that have nothing to do with the subject matter of your meeting. So
My concern at this point is we find details for that. I mean, I see extreme details for public comment, but then I don't see it sometimes with what I say. And that's where I'm struggling right now. So as this board, do we want public comment to always be included with the minutes? I mean, that's what we're here for, to decide those things that we want. Or do we want to just make it so we don't have public comment, or we do have it? I mean, that takes up your time too.
I'm happy to type.
One of the concerns that I have with the discussion, this discussion, is not the fact that it's going on, but the timing where it is going on. Because if you look at our agenda, it doesn't talk about these policy issues that you're discussing today. It talks about to review and possibly adopt the minutes, and then it talks about executive session. And so I'm concerned that, we are beyond that scope of the agenda, and that the public has a right to know and participate, and they don't have any sense at this juncture, in my opinion, that this was going to be the discussion that would take place early this afternoon.
Well, there's a whole part of our agenda that's missing, that's based on the village code. All agendas should be the same, and a lot of things are missing. So I don't know how you'd like to address that. But I think covering the simple things, we're not making any huge decisions. We're in discussion with trustee time, clerk time, and we're here for a reason, to evade or avoid, because you're saying an infraction, which actually the infraction would be that we don't have the complete agenda in front of us like it should have been. But nevertheless, I understand. So maybe we can address it at another time, but.
Well, maybe we should take it to a board meeting and then review the ordinance and of how the procedure is supposed to be followed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let's take it, I would say, take it to the board, let's bring it back, I would say
Chairman
bring it back to the
Presby,
board
if you could.
and let the board decide on how they want to proceed with the minutes of the board meetings.
Okay, so that's something we could discuss or maybe
Yeah.
take up with the village manager to put on the
Yes.
agenda at
Yes.
some
Yes.
point in
We can take
time.
another look at the ordinance, I think.
Yeah.
Right. but
I think
not
when we
today.
go over
I don't
these
think the ordinance,
minutes,
and I know we're discussing even further, but the ordinance doesn't call for or not.
as we go over
public
this,
comment in there.
as we go over this, Dan, it's going to show a lot of the issues that we're talking about specifically.
Okay, so with that said.
Let's go.
Let's move on to the first one, okay? So, motion to review and possibly adopt the village board meeting minutes from the January 11th, 2023 village board meeting. So we'll start with the first one.
I don't have that one.
I don't have that one either.
And why are we starting, why don't we go back
To.
October
yeah.
30th.
to October, the one that's a year and a half
If you guys would
old?
let me finish my next statement, that's what I was going to say. So we're going to start with October 31st, 2021.
Oh, okay.
Special village board meeting. Thank you. So we should start with, I guess, going down the line,
I
or?
guess we got to make a motion on
Okay.
each one, Carrie?
You should make a motion to approve, and then a second, and then you discuss, and then if there are amendments, you make the amendments, and then you would make the motion to approve.
I'll make that motion on October
minutes.
30th,
I'll second that.
2021.
Okay, trustee Fialco, second. Trustee Consolino?
All in favor?
All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Any opposed?
All right.
All right. My largest problem,
Wait, we just approved the minutes, or?
no, we need to
just made a
discuss,
motion.
and then we
Why did we
motion
vote?
to
Made a
amend.
motion only to,
But why did we vote?
we didn't,
We're motioning to review.
Right, but you just voted, you said all in favor to do what?
To review.
To review.
review.
Okay.
So who wants to go first, October 31st?
I would.
All right.
You know what?
Okay. So my largest problem with this, first of all, this is a year and a half late. It was not brought before the board until October of 2022. The meeting minutes are from October 31st, 2021. This was regarding the push and pull tax, and we had a special meeting in the final hours. Literally, we put this together in a couple days. Does everybody remember why we did this? It was because we had a timeline. The state of Illinois was no longer going to allow for this ability for us to do this tax. And so we had a special board meeting. It's recorded that we had the meeting. It's recorded that we did why we chose not to do it. It has public comment in there, but there's absolutely nothing to explain why this was provided, why we did this special meeting, and that it was called in response to the state abolishing the levy on 11/1/2021, and that we would never again have this ability to revisit this option of adding the ordinance of the levy for the push and pull tax on gaming in our community. Also, I know that several trustees, including myself, had spoken, as to why we were doing this. So my concern is why is there no comment for the trustees, but there's comment for the public comments? And then why is there nothing about why we did this special meeting?
Is that
Is that all you had
Yeah.
on your end? Okay.
Is that a question directed to me?
Well,
Am I allowed to-
so my
Am I allowed to
request
respond during
is,
this, or?
I would
I would ask that you review, okay, as to put in, like I wrote it down on here, I can give it to you, but you need to review the video. It was a short meeting to explain why we did that meeting.
Okay, but you do know why I didn't, correct? Because the Robert Rules of Order calls for me not to put any discussion in there, but I will, for you, if that's what we're doing moving forward, I can do that.
Oh, we have that on other special meetings, so I'm confused.
You mean the reason for the meeting, like when Carrie reads the special, or like Ruben did today, why we have the meeting?
Yes.
Oh, that's not a problem, I can put that in there.
Why we had the meeting is important.
Perfect.
I wasn't
it's
here
in
for
there.
that, but
We're going down the line this way.
Okay.
So you're finished, right?
no,
Yes,
we're
I'm
gonna
done.
take
This
that
way?
on, how it usually goes, but go ahead.
That's how we want to do it today. So, and the way I'd like for this to go throughout the meeting is, we're not asking the whys, we're just going to say, look, this is what's missing, and we'd like you to put it in there.
So I'm not allowed to give the reasons
No,
why
you can
they're
respond if
missing?
you want.
Okay.
I just don't want it to turn into a back and forth, that's all.
Sure.
Unless that's what you guys want.
I agree with that because
should just give
we
them
want to be able to get out of here in a reasonable fashion.
Sure.
So the material that I was missing is what trustee Consolino had mentioned. There was a segment that John Sawyers describes his version of why the tax levy or the penny push was brought, what benefits it could bring, but then also how it was detrimental to the business owner. He gave the pros and the cons, and none of that were in the minutes. That's correct. And then I had made some comments on, this was not a last-minute fly-by-night tax. We kind of gave the reasons why we were doing it so early and so close to the expiration, and that's because, of course, the state just kind of threw it on everybody last minute. So as far as that special meeting, that's all I had.
I guess I'll wait till everyone's done and then
Yes.
okay.
Well, basically, my report would be the same as Trustee Pazmino and Consolino. There was a lot of information, there was a lot of discussion, and I think that goes back to the point of whether we are going to be including discussion in these minutes, because there was a lot more discussion on that subject, and there were, and actually, Philip Musa, he gave some discussion at great length about why and how this would hurt his business as well as other businesses. So it just goes back to the point of just basically having all that information in there. Good, Dan.
Mayor Pro Temp, you have to appoint.
Trustee Fialco, I'm sorry.
Thank you, sir. We talked about, Carrie, you said it yourself, when there's the motion, we don't need discussion after the motion. The vote is actually what takes place. So, but I wasn't here for that. I believe I was sick at that time, and I was on speakerphone. I do think that the comments, the trustees and the report, or whatever they said before this started, should be included just like public comment.
Sure.
I don't know what was said during debate, but obviously you said that's not necessary, so I guess we're going to follow that format, right? Once it goes into discussion. We're not looking for any discussion after the motion was read and we put it up for discussion. That's not what you're looking to add. You're looking to add the comments from the trustees before we got to the motion, correct? Is that what we're all saying?
Sure.
Okay, so, are you done, Dan? I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Because other than that, I don't see anything other than that wrong.
Okay, so I guess my issue with it is, it's hard for me, that discussion was rather long, and you guys, in normal Robert's Rules of Order, the mayor, just like you do, you point to each trustee and allow them to speak once. When you guys go back and forth and jump in and all over the place, it's hard for me to pull out which sentences you want verbatim in there.
That
Is my
usually
po-
happens,
I-
though,
I'm
during
sorry.
discussion, though.
I'm sorry, right. So when you guys go back and forth, if you guys can be more specific of what you want in there, that's the reason why Robert's Rules says no discussion in there. If you're referencing before the motion, that's not a problem. I can put that in there, but I don't believe that was on this meeting.
When we go, right, and I see what you're saying, but when we go back and forth, it's usually after the motion was made, we're in discussion. I can see you not taking all
Right.
that into consideration. The vote is the final thing. But when the trustees said during their time, like during that was important, whatever a trustee said at that time should be documented and put into the history, I would think.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, the only reason I'm kind of putting it forward is because during committee meetings, they get it, and they're very well documented and summarized, and we never have an issue during any committees. This is kind of the
Well, we
only
never had an issue until recently, but however, we can, like you said, move forward with being more
I
specific,
just wanted to give,
but you guys have to tell me what you want specifically in there.
I just recommend a summary, and then we take it from there.
Okay?
Okay. So everybody is good with October 31st then, what we put forward?
Chairman Pazmino.
Wait, so,
Just so I'm clear, when you say put it into a summary, you are talking about during trustee time and what we say. You're not talking, once the motion is made on an item, right? And we go into discussion and everybody kind of takes their turn and there's that's not what you're talking about, right? You're just talking about trustee time when we speak individually before the meeting starts. And now when we are into a motion, when the mayor reads the motion, right? It gets first and second, then we get into debate, right? Or not debate, discussion. You're not talking about summarizing all discussion for every motion though, are you?
Well, it depends, like, for example, for our reports, and guys, this is not all up to me, this is
Our
everybody.
reports would be at Trustees.
Reports should be summarized, right? And then also every line item that we discuss that's on the agenda, there should be a summary, or there should be some details into that. Now,
Although that's not what I
That's-
heard
Sorry, go ahead.
legislative counsel say earlier, though.
But he also said that it would be up to us in how we would like to have the minutes projected. So if we want to have details in there, then that's what we need to make sure that we tell the clerk.
well, because I'm just saying, because in some of them, there's nothing, it's just a vote.
Right.
Because that is how the Roberts Rules reads it. But going forward, if you want a discussion under each motion, that's fine. That's not a problem as of January 11th. But if you guys want me to go back to every single one of these and type in something for a motion, that's I
You're
don't,
saying going forward.
going forward. Okay.
But please with the exception of the October meeting.
Would you mind just submitting whatever it is that you wanted, and I will put it in there?
All right, that's it for October 31st? All right, so moving to July 13th, 2022, Village Board meeting.
Wait,
Okay, so you need an approval for every individual one?
I'm sorry, what?
Because right now, she has to make the corrections.
Okay, so there are going to be corrections to it, okay.
Do we need to vote,
But you-
though, on October 31st, now that we've gone through discussion, to approve it as we discussed?
Well,
Or is that not
It should
necessary?
be a motion to amend it if,
You have to make a motion to amend the minutes to do some, you have to make a motion to amend by adding something to the minutes.
so why don't we do this? Our next meeting is February 8th. I can have all of these done, like all your corrections done by February 8th. We don't have to approve them today, but we can get them all resubmitted to, and as soon as I have them done, I can email them to you guys to make sure it's exactly what you want, and then we can get them all approved for that day.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Does that
So it would
work?
be before, a few days before the board meeting?
Yep, so our meeting's the 8th. I mean, if you guys get them to me today or tomorrow, I can have them done by Tuesday. Or, shoot.
It would
You guys
be
want-
much better to have it before the VDOT.
That only gives me one day.
Make it more
It
convenient.
lives,
But you're going to submit to it with us with
Yeah.
the corrections, correct?
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
oh, I'll have them done by, if you submit them to me today, I'll have them done by the 3rd,
Okay.
by that Friday, yeah.
So the record of this board is clear. I want to make sure that, is this what is being said? That there have been discussions to make changes to these minutes, and they will be shipped out, the proposed changes, so you'll have them before your next meeting in February. You will have several days to review them to make sure that they're correct in your mind, and then you're going to act on them at your February meeting. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I thought we were doing
But
today.
we are going over, no, I'm not hearing the same thing. We are going over these right here and now with our suggestions, with our changes. Then she will take that after this meeting is done, after we've told her what we felt was wrong with the meeting minutes, and then we will also submit to her in writing what we want done, okay? So this meeting is still going to go through every single one of these.
But no
Yeah.
action to approve these today?
No,
Not till
No.
February, what did you say?
8th. February 8th is our next
I
one,
said
yeah.
February 8th, sir.
That's,
Why not?
all right.
Okay.
Can we move on to July 13th?
please.
Please. Hallelujah. All right. Trustee Consolino, do you have any changes for
Yes,
July
I
13th?
do. Okay. Motion, motion to review, please.
I think we made a general motion for all
Okay.
these.
No, Carrie said we had to do each one, didn't you?
If you were going
Make
to
a motion on
approve,
each one?
if you were going to approve each one.
Yeah, we're just,
That's why I asked why you
I
guys voted.
thought you were going to approve the minutes today. That was my understanding, that from our meeting in December, I believe it was, I thought that the changes would be incorporated into the minutes, and there would be a vote on the minutes. I must have misunderstood. But if you want to go through these and make changes to each one, and you're not going to approve any of them, then you can just discuss each one as it comes up. And unless you find that there are no amendments required, if you'd find that, then you could approve that one with a motion to approve. But I think what Trustee Pazminos wants to do is go through each of the minutes that are in front of you, discuss them, see if there are any revisions that need to be made, discuss the revisions, and then return them to the clerk to complete, and then you'll bring them back to vote on February 8th.
Correct.
So I thought that was already going to be done, but I must have misunderstood from the last meeting.
We don't need a motion on each one.
No, if you're not going to approve them. If you decide you want to approve them, yes.
All right, thank you.
I just want to get them done.
All right, so once again, going back to July 13th, Trustee Consolino, did you have any changes on that?
Okay. On page 3 of 11, under public comment for Sherry Bonicki Cooling, she stated Trustee Consolino follows and videotapes her and her children. I want that changed to allege that Trustee Consolino. Also,
Wait, so instead of where it says stated, she alleged, okay. Okay.
because it's an allegation, it's not true. And I addressed that in the meeting afterward. Okay, under Michael Bonomo. Mr. Bonomo asked, he sent an email. One of the things is throughout all the meeting minutes, it's inconsistent. Sometimes you reference him as trustee, Homer Township trustee, or just Mr. Bonomo. Can you please, from here on out, refer to him as trustee Bonomo? And then he has a change on here, and I printed out the email. He has down, you have down, Mr. Bonomo stated he runs the senior committee, was notified by the deacon, Cross of Glory, that there was a conflict with the date. Mr. Bonomo stated he was thankful that Christina Netchke-Trakey was there for making last-minute arrangements for the senior bingo to take place at Konos. Seniors enjoyed free food from Joey's and ice cream. It was the biggest turnout they have had. He requested that you change this to Mr. Bonomo stated he runs the senior committee and was notified by the deacon of Cross of Glory that there was a conflict with the date to conduct our monthly bingo. Mr. Bonomo would like to extend his gratitude to Konos Farm for allowing us at the last minute to arrange to have our bingo at the farm. The event was great and the seniors were able to enjoy free food from Joey's, Red Hots, and ice cream provided by the farm. It was our biggest turnout that day. Thanks again to Konos for their great hospitality.
Okay, that's not what he said then, so I'd have to re-listen to the recording, because I
fine.
can't put something in that wasn't stated. But if you want to submit that to me too, I'm happy to
I'll
change
submit
it.
that to you. That's why it's on email.
And then for the trustee part, if he recognizes himself as a township trustee, that's when I would put it in.
Put it in there.
And then if he just said Mike Bonomo, then I just put Mike Bonomo.
Okay, I don't really want to address Mayor Yukich's comments that are recorded by you, but there's a lot of stuff that's not clarified, just so you know, in the future. Something, where he goes, Clerk Netchke-Trakey stated there were residents that stated they seen cases of beer going behind the truck, but it doesn't say where, but could not confirm if they were stolen or if they were being brought somewhere else. Would be nice if you could put at Homerfest. It would be nice if that you could use proper grammar instead of stated they seen, just say stated they saw cases of beer going behind the truck. All right.
Do you mind if I omit actually the first statement of Mayor Yukich's?
That's fine by me. Anybody else got a problem with that?
I don't, you
The
mean,
only reason why I'm asking to remove that first line, after I was reading Robert's rules, it says that you're never supposed to state something like that if you read his first sentence in there. So I was just,
He said it, so I would leave it in there.
okay.
And he's
Well, I
not
was
here to say
going to
remove
admit it from others.
Right.
It says you're
Fine with
not
me.
supposed to, so that's why I was removing it. But okay.
Page 4 of 11, you have a typo that needs to be removed, Robert's Rules of Order.
Page 11?
Page 4 of 11,
4.
above trustee Laha.
Okay, that was just a copy and paste from your report. You want that removed?
Okay. Page 9 of 11. Under old business. Trustee Fialco asked for an update. It was Trustee Fialco and Trustee Consolino asked for an update on the flock cameras. Manager Morella stated we are still at only 2 cameras. After that, you should be adding, and that we didn't have a reason from flock as to why the other 8 cameras had not been installed. And then I would put a period after that.
Why, 2 other cameras haven't been installed, did you say?
No, we were waiting on another 8. I went back to the video for this.
Okay.
So it should say Trustee Fialco and Trustee Consolino asked for an update on the flock cameras.
Got it.
Manager Morella stated we are still at only 2 cameras. Now, I would write down after 2 cameras, and that they didn't have, that we did not have a reason from flock as to why the other 8 cameras had not been installed. I would put a period after that, and then start the next sentence with Lieutenant Taylor. One more on this one.
No more on that one?
Okay, no,
Oh, one
page
more.
10 of 11. Under new business, Trustee Fialco stated he would like to see a few of the vacant lots cleaned up a bit. After up, I would put cleaned up with grass cutting and broken asphalt, because those are his words on the video.
Actually, I didn't listen. I thought he said a bit, and then he said later stated, but that's okay, I'll add that.
And then-
Grass cuttings and asphalt?
And then number 2, Trustee Fialco reminded everyone about the mosquito spray. Mosquito in both is spelled wrong.
Yeah, I see that, thank you.
Is that all you had, Trustee Consolino? Okay.
And I'm done with that one.
On mine was just, my report was missing on this one. I thank the village manager Morella for his hard work during the event that we had. Special kudos to the staff. I was congratulating and thanking also Public Works, the township, and Commissioner Porfirio for building the road that connects both the township and the village for this event. And I thank Trustee Fialco on an amazing fest. We couldn't have done it without him. And of course, the staff, Public Works, Parks and Rec, and the following staff.
Are you going to send that to me? I mean, since you have it there, I mean,
Well, I wrote it out.
oh,
And then you had a pretty long report. It wasn't on there at all. So I don't know if that's,
I'm looking at this, and if for some reason, it's on here, but not here. So, I don't know why. So I can tell you, Gina and I had discovered that I type mine on the W drive, and she transferred my reports, or the minutes, I should say, from the W to the S. So sometimes when there's changes made after, so perfect example, I'll go through, type the motions, put all how everybody votes. Then I'll go back, listen to the recordings, and type in what you said for your reports, because that takes a little longer. So sometimes when she moves them to the S drive to print them out for you, my changes aren't made. So as we were comparing sheets a week ago, we discovered that. So I can add that in there.
okay. Thank you. That's all I had on that one.
My report was fine. The only thing was that Mayor Yukich's report was not complete. There was a lot more that he said that's not listed on here.
So you'd like me to add more for his?
Yes, please.
Pro Temp Pasmino?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was on the same one. What was it?
Dan.
Dan.
Oh. Trustee Fialco, go ahead.
Starting with D1, trustee Pasmino motion to table I-7, second by trustee Castellino. It should say that it was in regards to business license / fees, I would think. But then when you go to page 7, or, you know, on page 7 of 11, it's got all this stuff on there where it says trustee Laha motion to approve, second by trustee Pasmino. It gives the roll call, and there was no vote on it. It should just say tabled. Everything under tabled should be omitted.
I see, that should have been taken
And it
out.
should be similar to July 28th meeting on number 7 also. It gives the exactly what I'm talking about. It shows it that way.
Okay.
So, you know, on that one, that's the next one we're going to be doing. That's how.
Oh, the next meeting
You'll
minutes?
see this one where I got it highlighted? Where
Yeah.
it just says table?
That's July 28th, right?
Right, and I'm using that as an example
Got
for
it.
how this one should look.
I see, yeah, this is just copied and paste on here, so that just should have been crossed out.
Yeah, it shouldn't be there. As far as the public hearing for number 1, under E1, it should, I would think that we want to know what the public hearing was about, and it was on the Villas of Old Oak, the SSA Special Service Area 22-001.
Okay,
Trustee Pasmino, he said his thing is okay. I don't see anything from, well, Trustee Rogers, her comments were also missing, whether she had nothing to say or not.
wait, are you under reports?
I don't know what her report said, but even if she said nothing at all and she said no report, I think it would behoove us to put it into the history records that there was no report if there was none. But I don't see her name on here.
So is that something, well, if they don't have a report, I don't put anything down. So if you're requesting me to put their name down and put no
Yeah, no
report in addition
report, just
to.
so
No report.
For the record, we know that they didn't want to say anything and not that it got missed.
Okay, obviously that would go when you guys change the ordinance then later,
No,
right? When you guys discuss.
I don't know if that's even part of the ordinance. It's just,
Well, when you come up with your rules of how you want the minutes typed for the next clerk, it'd be nice to have it
well, we
written
don't,
down.
here, we don't have all this stuff listed in here as in the ordinance, I don't believe. So I'm just saying.
Or
when-
whatever it is that you'd like.
I'm saying from now on, we don't have to go back and, I guess, correct every one of them. But if somebody has no report, it should reflect in the record here in the minutes that that person had no report. So, the next thing would be, I think on number 11, there actually was a motion to include the business raise right, so we know who we selected. Oh,
It's in there.
raise right is the first word, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Raise right was the first thing that was in there. All right. The other thing for adjournment, you've got number L with the mosquito thing twice, right? Mm-hmm. And then under adjournment, it was myself and then trustee Pasmino second.
I'm sorry, what, where do you see that?
That would be for adjournment, O.
Page 10 of 11.
I have O for,
10 of 11, under adjournment. It should say trustee Fialco motion to adjourn and seconded by trustee Pasmino.
So
You
it's
have it
reversed?
just the opposite.
oh, for the, oh, okay.
And that would be it for me on July 13th.
Okay. So just so I also know, just as an example, like for example, number 6, number 8, number 9, number 11, number 12, number 13, all of them had comments from, different trustees, from village staff. So I guess instead of going back and revisiting what was said on all of these, the conversation, I guess this is where we're asking for a summary for each one of these. So
I don't have a problem doing it moving forward at
Okay,
all.
all right, I just want to make that clear.
It just, as you know, it's not what our ordinance says now.
Awesome. Okay, all right, so we're done with July 13th? We're good?
Yes, sir.
Nice. Going on to July 28th, 2022, special village board meeting. Trustee Consolino?
This one wasn't that bad. Page 5 of 9. All the way before H, Trustee Fialco. Trustee Fialco thanked Lieutenant Taylor for working with Trustee Consolino and himself for resolving the issues that had taken place. Dan, do you want to say what that issue was?
No, I purposely did
Okay.
not. I don't believe I mentioned the
How
issue.
about just change the to an issue? And then in the next sentence, you have mosquitoes spelled again wrong twice.
I don't know why that's doing, okay. I think that's the name of the company of the spelling. And you said you wanted the word in instead of the?
A-N,
An, oh.
an issue. So if we're not going to discuss what the issue was, just write A-N, an issue, not the issue. And then the next one is on 8 of 9. Under old business.
I'm sorry. 8 of 9 on old business. Number 1, Attorney Hanson asked to discuss the tabled business licenses and fees. No discussion?
The only thing that was asked was trustee Fialco asked him why he brought that back up.
Okay, but I don't like how there's just this no discussion.
Well, if there's something brought up in old business and it's just a statement, there was,
Also, it was something that was tabled. Why is the attorney bringing it up?
Yeah, I agree.
We had that-
I don't
we
even
had that-
That
believe
was the
should
question
be-
that-
I don't even believe that should be in there because it's not his position to do that unless he was asked.
And he didn't claim it
whatever you
was
guys
asked.
want. I can take it out if you want, it's not a big deal. It was just brought up then, so I put it under there.
I don't agree with the no discussion part on the end. I don't think it was his place. He did ask, but.
So am I taking out number 1 or just the part that says no discussion?
What do you guys feel comfortable with?
I'm good with no discussion.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey, remove it.
Remove it?
Yes.
Just removing no discussion, okay.
Okay.
And that was all I had on that.
Thank you, Trustee Consolino. I see I had under Trustee Pazmino report, if we could replace pulmonary with preliminary.
Where's it? Which one's that? Which one's that?
That was under my trustee report.
All right, done.
And then, let's see.
Yeah.
The only one I had, I mean, the other one I had was State's Attorney Jim Glasgow. He was up there for quite a while. Maybe more of a summary on his, what he had on House Bill 3653.
Where are you at?
I'm sorry, that's under guest speaker.
Yeah.
Whoops.
He spoke out against it.
Yeah, so I did ask about that too, and I was told just to put what he came and spoke about, not discussion on it, but I can add if you'd like. It's totally fine.
These two?
Well, he spoke a lot, yeah.
He did, so that's
Yeah.
what,
And he was very against it.
Yeah.
He also filed a lawsuit with other state's attorneys in the state, so I think that,
Carrie, what would you recommend and I do in that?
You can just indicate with one sentence that he explained his reasons for opposing
House Bill 3653.
53.
Yeah.
We're explaining in detail his reasons for opposing.
Okay.
All right, that's all I had. Trustee Reinders.
Okay, page 5 of 9 on my report. Basically, I started off by welcoming Brett Westcott, the new engineer that was eliminated from there. Also, the meeting that I had with Lou Zemke for the Veterans Memorial was eliminated from there.
Can I go back to the first one? You said, it says Brett right there. What you said,
Because I had the pleasure of working with Brett to move forward, but I welcomed him to the board. That was his first meeting.
so you want me to add that you welcomed Brett
Yes.
Westcott?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, the meeting that I had with Lou Zemke is not included in this report. I met with him at Marion Village, and that was actually in my report that I gave that day. Also, I talked about the Rustic Vintage Fair in the Kris Kringle Market, and the fact that the village and Conal's both were providing a village event on that weekend. And none of that was listed in there.
Is that all, Trustee Reinders?
That's it.
All right, Trustee Fialko?
Again, on this one, on the roll call, I would like it to say that who was absent. For that meeting, it was Beth Rogers.
Wait, so am I putting who was absent for all of these, or are we doing that moving
Well, if
forward?
they were absent, yeah, because then we don't know if you missed it,
So
or
I'm doing that going forward as of,
I would say yes.
but not for these?
Well, why not for these, though?
If
It's
you could be
a small little.
clear what
Yes,
it is.
if I'm,
Is
yes.
that what the rest of the board wants? Is me to go back and put who was absent now?
There's only been two
Well, I
of them.
think for the
and
record, it
doesn't-
should be on there. If somebody's
Yes.
not here, it should be, they should be listed as absent.
Well, I guess her question is how far is she going back?
If they want to show who was present and who was absent,
Okay.
the request is one line.
Yeah.
Yes. I think it's good for the record without knowing if you missed it or not, you know what I'm saying? This puts that to the side. We see that it's now absent Beth Rogers. We don't know that you missed it in the top then. And I just think it makes it a lot clearer. So
So
that
I'm
would
just
be-
saying, because the Roberts Rules says to list who was present, and if someone's absent, it goes in the motion. So you guys want me to go back to starting from January 13th?
Just the ones
going
we're
forward,
talking here,
correct?
just the ones we're talking about.
So
It would be January 13th moving.
these haven't been approved, so if they're asking for the
fine.
request, let's just put in the request.
It's fine,
Be
but
done with
we
it.
discussed earlier it was going forward as of January. So I just want to make sure it's clear that it's for these minutes as well.
Seeing that these minutes have not been approved and they're requesting the absence in these minutes, let's just put them in the minutes.
Okay.
All right, we talked about that. Trustee Pazmino, I think it's important what Trustee Pazmino said, but also his conversation, and when he talked about the governor, it was about House Bill 3653. And for the historic part of it and somebody not knowing what the governor ignored, I think it's important to include that in your in this conversation that you had, that it was about, that it was, and the current governor ignored House Bill 3653.
That's correct, if you could add that, that'd be,
I think that was an important part of what you said.
So now you want me to add-
Under Trustee Pazmino, just to put.
Oh, under
in
Trustee
that verbiage,
Pazmino's report?
something that says that the discussion was, the resolution and the current governor ignored it, but it was, what it was about was House Bill 3653.
oh, so just
so
stating
just
which,
add House Bill?
We know what what was discussed.
Here, if you're going to go that far, Dan, could you please add regarding the Safety Act?
We could.
Because that
we
was
could add
what
that, 'cause
the exact part he was
okay, House
talking
Bill
about was the Safety Act.
3653, that's the Safety Act.
And Safety Act, okay.
Yeah. We talked about mosquito already. As far as no report, I don't, for yourself, I don't see anything in here. Clerk, no report. Public safety, no report. And lawyers, no report. But,
And that's something you want me to add for these as well? Okay, that's not a problem.
As far as that goes, no discussion. That does it for me
Okay.
on July 28th.
Thank you, trustee Fialko. For this next one, this was a special board meeting.
Wait, which,
I'm sorry. This was August 2nd.
okay.
Now, unless anybody has anything to add, I would just move to pass these minutes today.
This was
I have
verbatim
something
per
to say.
Carrie.
Oh, you do? Okay, never mind. So we'll start with trustee Consolino. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask Attorney Horvath.
August 2nd.
August 2nd, special meeting.
It actually was a special meeting. It doesn't say that on the header
Carrie,
for this either.
this is
I'll
where
change that, Dan.
the meeting couldn't take place because there was no quorum. Could you please make sure that you're okay with the statements, because it doesn't put in any of the comments that you made, and that was most of the meeting. And then also, under discussion and action items, it says no quorum, but underneath that, it says discussion pertaining to incident on July 29th at the Village Hall, discussion and possible action to determine whether incident on July 29th carries any consequences. Should those two items be even under there if there was no quorum?
I don't even know, do I even need minutes?
That was the notice of the meeting.
That's just the notice of the meeting. So the notice of the meeting, why is it under there?
No, it is.
I can't
That's why
remember,
I'm-
I mean, this is August of last year, but
It's-
generally,
It says it right here.
when you have a special meeting, you read the
Mm.
notice into the record, and then try to establish who received it. All right, so
That's on there, I think, wait.
that's probably what the notice of the meeting said, purpose was to discuss the incident on July 29th, 2022 at Village Hall, and discuss possible action to determine whether the incident carries any consequences. But
I don't
have
think-
that in front of me. As far as comments that I made, I don't have a problem with it as it says that there was no quorum. The meeting ended. Pardon?
I'll let you guys decide
That's what I was
if
kind
you
of
want
saying.
that on there or
Just
not.
so you know, this was discussed with Carrie prior to, because
I guess
this is what he said to do.
enough and everybody else after that can just be eliminated if you care to. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so that's up to you guys. Okay?
Well, basically, I mean, if it's up to me, I would really like a more detailed discussion on here, because there was discussion on this board that day, and the mayor and some of the trustees, or one of the trustees that was here, had some derogatory comments to make, and I would like them included in the minutes. And I also would like your comments that you made having to stop them from moving forward with a meeting, and Attorney Hansen saying that the meeting could be taken outside. I want that included in these minutes.
If you want that included, then that's prerogative of this board.
Then if I have to write a summary, I'll write a summary of it, and I will pass it on to the clerk.
Other than they shouldn't be doing anything in
Right.
this particular room as part of village business because
Right.
they didn't have quorum.
Right, but they continued to discuss the subject matter at that time. They continued to discuss it, and you basically had to tell them again not to stop, or else that they were going to be in violation and that you were going to report them. So basically, none of that is included in here, and I would like a summary of that. If I have to go write the minutes myself, I will.
Trustee Reinders, I did have a complete summary on that whole day, but I was told that after there was no quorum, that I was not allowed to put anything in there after
Well,
that.
unfortunately,
So-
the mayor and everybody else continued to discuss after they were told that there was no quorum. So therefore, I would like it included in these minutes.
That's not a problem. I can do that.
Okay, trustee Fialko, do you have anything?
On the cover page, usually it says when it's a special board meeting, it doesn't say it on
I already,
that cover sheet.
I already said I'd correct
I
that.
know, I'm saying it, we said it, but I didn't say it. So that would be one. under C, it says a quorum was established. When we get to the bottom of everybody's names for roll call, it says a quorum was established. That shouldn't be there. I listened to this in detail. I don't remember all these, like Trustee Castellino is saying, I don't remember hearing, and you can re-review it yourself, but these things here, the paragraph under Attorney Horvath read into the minutes for the record, the notice of the special meeting, true. But I don't remember all this being put in there. I do remember, and I reviewed the video, I do remember him saying, asked if the present board members, if they received the notice, he went through everybody. That is true. I was here for that meeting. I do remember Attorney Horvath saying that there could be, or there more than likely would be a thing filed with OMA, that it would be an OMA violation. He did not say that he would do it. He said that more than likely
There would be a violation, right.
it would happen.
I don't have anything typed in here about that.
No, I know, but I'm addressing Rose.
Oh.
In a way. So I don't see why, I think you need to maybe re-review it to just make sure. I did not hear this portion of it being talked about where we have it. It went right to where Attorney Horvath asked the board members, and then basically was lack of a quorum, and that was it.
Right.
With the warning that Rose was talking about that Carrie gave to the board, that we shouldn't continue with the meeting.
Correct. So my question to Carrie was, do I even do minutes for a meeting that we don't have a quorum on? This is the response that Carrie had typed up and sent to put in for the minutes. So I did exactly what he had stated. If you would like, I have no problem going back and listening to the meeting and typing.
I would appreciate it.
It's not a problem. As long as that's okay. I mean, I don't know if that's the right rules.
My request is, please, if these minutes are going to stand, get rid of a quorum was established, because it was not. Please
That's
write,
gone.
no quorum was established. That's all.
And then you guys stated you wanted D, E, F, G, and H gone, but that was what was on the agenda. So you just want me to put, because I have the word no quorum next to it, because I have to type what's on the agenda. So I put no quorum after.
Where does it say no, well, no quorum
Right
at the
after.
bottom, but beneath the names when you took the roll call, when the roll
No, I'm
call was
saying
called?
Jen had asked to remove completely D, E, F, G, H. Well, that's what was on the
So
agenda.
F1 and F2, please.
Do what?
What you should say under C is no quorum was established.
I've got
Instead of a
that.
quorum, okay. And then you can leave in that I read into the minutes and for the record, the notice of the special meeting.
Got it.
You can leave in that I asked the board members if they personally received the notice and what their responses were. As far as whatever I said, if that's what Trustee Reinders wants to have included, fine. Trustee Rogers did leave the meeting.
And there was no documentation of that. The other thing
Yeah,
is
it
when,
says right
for
there
those
that
who
she
were,
left.
Says it there.
It says right here, Trustee Rogers left the meeting to allow,
where did I miss?
right above, due to no quorum, the meeting ended.
Well, the reason she left the meeting was she thought if she left the meeting, there could just be an open discussion.
Right.
And that's when I informed the mayor and whoever else was present, which I believe was only Trustee Fialko.
Again, for this one, I think it's,
You couldn't
those
do
who
that.
were absent is important, and why we didn't establish a quorum. So listing who was absent during roll call, I think is important on this one also.
I will do that from all of
Be
them.
on August 2nd.
One more grammatical error. Due to no quorum, the meeting ended. There's 3 periods. Please change that to 1 period. And then what I'm going to suggest for those October 31st meetings from 2021, I'm sorry. Like you'd put here, you put a special meeting of the Village Board of Trustees is being called for yada yada. Could you do the same thing with those October? Why? What's the purpose? That should be done with
I
every.
mean, under A? Is that what you're referencing?
Pardon?
Under A, on August 2nd, you want that under A? A special meeting was
Where did I
called?
just see that?
Where do you want that put, is what I'm asking.
No, you put it again, you put it a second time. You put it under Attorney Horvath read into the meeting minutes for the record, the notice of the special meeting. You put what the meeting was.
You want that on October 31st?
Yeah.
Is what you're saying? Okay.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Consolino, anything else? Trustee Fialko, we good?
I am done.
Trustee Reinders, all right. So that was August 2nd, moving on to August 24th. Trustee Consolino?
All right, if we're going to do what Dan is requiring, Trustee Rogers was again absent after roll call. Public comment, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name, under Fijigowski, has concerns, I would say has concerns regarding access from the proposed development on the Dunn Farm property. And then where it says 163rd has many of speeding cars, please change that to sound better. 163rd has issues with speeding cars as it is, comma, and adding 257 homes will only make it worse.
Okay, so we say that again, but here's the thing is, now I don't want to go tit for tat, my words versus your words. So how does that,
Well,
you know what I mean?
but here,
I mean,
it's
it
for
reads the same.
it's for grammatical purposes.
Yeah, but
So
has
if somebody's reading this,
concerns?
it doesn't look right when somebody else is reading the meeting minutes. That reflects on the entire village. It doesn't just reflect on you. That's why I'm asking if we could be,
I see what you're saying, but it
More
reads the
grammatical.
same. Has concerns on the proposed access. You'd prefer to say has concerns regarding on
yes,
the,
regarding access from,
okay. And then you have 163rd has
issues with speeding cars as it is, comma. Okay. And then under John Walters' comments, it says, Mr. Walters stated he came to talk about the special meeting and the possible forged signature. Please put alleged instead of possible.
okay, I put what they say, but I'll re-listen to that.
And then under Trustee Fialko for reports and communications, stated, I would say, stated Homer Fest Committee will be coming up with the budget for the next fest. Oh, and then there's one, Trustee Consolino, where I put driving through the subdivision, put subdivisions, just add an S and a period, please. Okay. All right, and then on page 6 of 6, under old business, number 1, Trustee Fialko asked for an update on flock cameras. Village Manager Carmen Morella stated we are still at 2 cameras on 159th Street. I would add, and still no response from the flock company.
As long as that was said that day, I don't mind putting that.
And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Oh,
Is
stop
it
with
again
the
on
word
there?
mosquito
Oh, yeah, and then
already.
number 2, thank you.
I don't even spell mosquito that way, so I don't even know how it comes up that way.
Looks like it'd be.
Thank you, Carrie.
Autocorrect or something?
All right, moving on. Thank you, Trustee Consolino. Let's see, so I just had a couple things for the recognition of the 2022 Big Tree Champion winners. Would you please add presented by Trustee Pazmino?
Hey, hold on. Presented by Trustee Pazmino, that's what
Right.
you want me to add?
Yes. And then also my report,
Was George with you, or no? And Mayor Yukich?
well, he was with me handing them out, but I actually,
So you just want
did
yourself?
all of it,
Is what
yeah.
you're saying?
oh, you could put both of us. He didn't speak.
I don't really care.
Well, you're asking some.
On that one, I
You could
thought you
put both of us.
spoke too.
Okay. Or what
Yeah, we
about
both did,
Jennifer?
but-
Yeah, I thought you both.
George just handed the award.
Okay, so presented by Trustee Pazmino and Trustee Consolino?
There you go.
Thank you.
Hey, can I make a suggestion? We add the names of the winners, so when we review
I would
minutes for the year
like that
after,
too. Could we do
it's
that?
easier for staff.
I thought that was,
My next statement.
Okay, thanks. I don't mean to interrupt, I apologize.
yeah.
Okay.
Also, my report was completely left out. Wasn't much, but I did compliment Trustee Laha on her accomplishments representing Homer Glen.
That is on there. I just did a summary since you all did. It's on the top of page 3 of 6. It says all board members congratulated Trustee Laha.
Oh, I didn't see it. All right.
I don't mind going back and putting it under each one of you. I just thought since you've all did it, it was there.
I covered it. I think.
Also, for number 3, there was some discussion with Trustee Fialco and Engineer Brett Westcott regarding the Fitterman Creek sanitary sewer. So if we can get just some detail in that discussion, because I thought it was pretty important. I'm sorry, that would be,
4 of 6.
Number 3, 4, 6, top.
Again, you guys are asking me to put detail in under a motion,
summary.
or summary under a motion. Do you want me to?
I think just a reference for the future, as we're doing a lot of work with this, and we can just have some discussion, so if engineer has to go back.
For this one? Okay,
Yes,
that's
why
fine.
that's why they're asking.
And I actually have an idea, perhaps, on something like this, we can just say it at the meeting, maybe make that request at that moment. Clerk, could you please, in your minutes,
Sure,
include these details? And then that way, boom, you hit it.
I'll know. Okay.
All right, thank you.
So, just so I understand, we don't want details for every motion. When we feel it's necessary, we'll say that at the moment to the clerk.
Was everybody okay with it?
I'm okay with
Yeah,
that.
I'm okay with it.
Jennifer?
That's all I had, Trustee Reinders?
One of the things I recognized right away was in the 2022 Big Tree Champion winners, I mean, you guys gave an excellent report on that. And basically, that's all it says is Big Tree Champion winners. It didn't go into any detail. Ruben, you spoke at length about that. And then Jen spoke, and there was nothing basically there. So to me, I figured it sounds like the report's missing to me.
You're correct, Trustee Reinders, it is.
Okay, then under the reports and communications from mayor and other officers, George went on and on and on the dais that day, not only about Rosati's, but about a few other things as well, and none of that is included in his report. And then my report was missing, and I said more than what was just congratulating Nicole Laha. So my report is missing on there.
I'll look into both of those.
Trustee Fialco? I'm sorry, Trustee Reinders, is that all you had?
Thank you.
Okay, Trustee Fialco?
Almost everything's been covered here. Absent on this one was Beth Rogers. Those you covered, your name was missing there. Camera thing was covered, mosquito was covered. I think under new business, we did not talk where it says Trustee Fialco stated he had been working with Manager Morella and would like to look into moving everything. I listened to that one. We were specific about Anico Drive. We were specific about getting EMA out of there. We were specific about the cost it would be over 10 years, which is $600,000. And so the details for what we were talking about under new business for that item, and then we also talked about looking and asking the board for the permission to look forward to putting a building up here to replace Anico Drive. So there's much missing from the new business statement under number L2.
Again, do you want me to go back and add
Yeah, you can summarize it, just as long as, somebody that would look at this 10 years from now, oh, they were talking about Anaco Drive. Oh, they were talking about moving EMA. Oh, they were talking about putting up a new facility. It doesn't have to be every word that I said, but let's just put in the details. So if I'm somebody that goes to look at this, the public record, 2 years from now, I can see what they were talking about. With here, I wouldn't know what we're even talking about.
It's not a problem?
That'd be the only thing for me. I'm done as far as August 24th.
Thank you, Trustee Fialco. So moving on to September 14th. Trustee Consolino?
Page 3 of 13. Under public comment for Gail Schneider, her public comment was not attached.
I have it. So when Gina, like I stated earlier, when Gina prints these out, she takes it under the S drive. I do have those.
Okay, so we need to make sure hers is attached. Under Mike Bonomo, a few things. Mr. Bonomo discussed the Senior Expo. Mr. Bonomo discussed the success of the Senior Expo. Some businesses, the Homer Township Senior Committee and board members, I would say village board members, got together to put on the Senior Expo. 58 vendors signed up. There were 58 vendors. There was a band, magician, donations, and food were provided. Should be food was provided. Okay, Mr. Bonomo thanked everyone who participated. I would put, there will be another Senior Expo next year, comma, the date is to be determined. So
There will be another event instead of a second event? You want just to change the word second to another?
No, there will just get rid of a second event next year, just write, there will be another Senior Expo next year, comma, the date is to be determined. Okay. And then just grammar again, under Mike Carlson. Mr. Carlson stated Carmarell is doing a great job and Carmen has his full support instead of Mike's full support. The Homer Stallions were going to come to the meeting and thank Mr. Morella for everything he has done for them. Don't put Mr. Morella again. Mr. Carlson asked if we are...
Well, I put Mr. Morella so they didn't confuse Carlson or Morella. Because if you read it as he, it could be Mr. Carlson, it could be read as.
I think it sounds better just to put his name once. Mr. Carlson asked if we are asking the wrong questions, comma, as there is, not as there are. So put as there is a question that has not been answered yet. And then I would put where he says, Mr. Carlson asked why we have, put please, why do we have 2 lawyers? And then just to stay consistent with the paragraph, under Mayor Yukich responded to Mr. Carlson's comment, not Mike Carlson again. Okay, and then under G for Trustee Consolino, again, it's just grammar. Trustee Consolino also thanked Ronald Cuss, comma, Tony Drabick, comma, and the EMA team, and is looking forward to their possible appointments.
So you just want me to add 2 commas?
Get rid of and. You have, after Cuss, you have
I
and.
see.
I'm on page 3 of 13.
Under G, under reports, under Concielo.
Okay, and then where it says Trustee Consolino gave kudos, thanked everyone, I would just say Trustee Consolino thanked everyone. Scratch out gave kudos.
I just put what you say.
No, I know, but it doesn't, it's doing it twice. All right, Trustee Pasmino, do you want me to, I had some corrections under yours, or do you want to do them? And I'll go on to other
Well,
stuff?
if you had some, I mean.
Okay, here, I'll do okay. So under,
Maybe she should be clerk.
okay, so So under trustee Pasmino on 4 of 13, the CED committee had went over different options for, not assistance, but put assisting existing businesses within Homer Glen. Then I would write, CED also discussed SOP 7 for a business tax incentive. They are looking into, and here's where the correction comes in, instead of doing something more, they are looking into offering incentives.
But that's, so if he doesn't say those words, I can't put in something that wasn't said. But I don't mind, I mean, if it's, because his words were, we are looking into doing something more. I remember that one.
All their businesses
But
as the,
if you want me to change it,
I mean, she got the general idea. I mean,
Okay.
the only thing are you done?
No, I've got other stuff on everything else.
Okay, go ahead.
Rose, do you want to handle your errors and stuff?
Mine? Yeah, yeah, I have corrections.
Well, can I do mine then first?
Yeah, no, well, no. I just have a couple more
I wanted
things.
to know if I wanted her to do
No.
my corrections.
Okay, and under attorney court, and on page 5 of 13, there was something, it gets confusing on here. So, page 5 of 13, under attorney Carrie Horvath, there's a part like midway that comes through Mr. Kolbacki's first finding, okay? Or do we just put Mr. Kolbacki's finding was the signature?
whatever you want. He said first, but we can put whatever.
Does that make sense, Carrie? Okay. Okay.
You want me to
And then-
remove the word
okay, so-
first? I don't, it doesn't
Doesn't
matter.
matter. He made a couple of findings.
Okay,
All right, so
Conclusion is what was important.
which is in there.
okay, and there was no discussion after all that, correct?
I don't remember.
I believe you asked, I have it in there that you asked.
I mean, I asked to go into executive session.
Yeah.
There was no response, you have that, but I thought there was discussion because I got up and left the dais to go to the bathroom.
I think there was discussion later on under something else.
Okay, I'm just double checking. And then I think, okay, old business on page 12 of 13. All right, trustee Pasmino had sentiments on forgery. I would say trustee Pasmino had sentiments on the mayor's false allegation of forgery. Okay, and then Mayor Yukich is still stating it wasn't him, even after the report states,
Wait, you lost me. What sentence are you at now?
midway, where it
Mayor
starts off
Yukich
with,
stating he really wanted to?
no. Mayor Yukich is
Oh, it's still stating it wasn't him, got it, go ahead.
Okay, is still stating it wasn't him, even after the report states differently.
Okay,
Okay. Trustee Consolino, I have, she stated, second sentence, she stated the board gave Mayor Yukich, hang on, or not, okay. No, trustee Consolino stated she has not heard one word from Will County Sheriff's Office. She stated to the board, this is all jumbled up,
she stated the board gave Mayor Yukich the benefit of the doubt,
and that there was,
a possible fraud out there. That's what your words were.
I would say,
Again, I
I
have to,
can't even read my own notes now. Okay, trustee Consolino stated point of order, I am speaking. Now, you wrote trustee Consolino continued on, and attorney Horvath interrupted and stated the Will County Sheriff's Office doesn't have that type. Who did I state point of order at?
trustee continued on. Wait, I don't even know where you're, oh, trustee Consolino stated point of order, I am speaking. Trustee, okay,
Who did I say that at?
probably to Mayor Yukich.
Yes, so that
You want me
needs
to put
be
that in there?
stated, yes. When you do point of order, and that is written in both Robert's Rules of Order and with OMA, you have to write down who the point of order is directed at and why.
So then forgive me when I ask who you are pointing that at next time it happens.
Okay.
George?
Okay. Instead of saying trustee Consolino continued on, I would say trustee Consolino continued to speak regarding the investigation.
You say that one, my trustee Consolino continued, instead of putting the word on.
Continued speaking
Okay.
regarding the investigation.
Okay.
Also on number 3, again, it's with the flock cameras, because this went on for several months before we came to a determination. It wasn't just that flock had not, that we didn't get the cameras, but we were receiving no response. This went on for 3 or 4 months. So where it says trustee Fialco asked for this matter to be put on the next agenda, right before that, Lieutenant Taylor stated no. I would write, and there was still no response from the flock company.
As long as that was stated, I have no problem.
We stated that each time. Village manager stated it.
Oh, yeah, so Carmen stated, we have not heard from flock camera.
Still no response from
Great.
Generally asked the question as we were in the meeting.
Each time. And then mosquito is spelled wrong underneath that.
We move on from the.
I know.
Just kidding.
But there, and then the other one here for number 1, a few of us agreed on this.
On number
So for
1
new
where?
business.
Okay.
Okay. Trustee Consolino asked for a roundtable discussion on the HB bill. Trustee Consolino stated she had a headache. I want that stricken.
Okay. So you stated, huh?
And all you have to
Now
say
that's
is,
detailed.
trustee Consolino will read her statistics and report at the next meeting. I'm done with that one.
Thank you, trustee Consolino. I just had 2 small ones. This is going back to page 413 under my report. Entice, misspelled E-N-T-I-C-E.
Well, I was going to point that out, too.
I beat you.
Where are you at, trustee?
Towards the middle of the sentence to the right, I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sentences down. This is something to entice smaller businesses to come into Homer Glen.
Oh, I see it, okay.
E-N-T-I-C.
I see it now.
And then under page 12 of 13, under old business, second line, it didn't say fraud, I said forger. So if you could replace fraud with forger.
Where are you at?
Old business, J,
Yep.
second sentence or second line.
To be called a forgery?
To be called a forger.
Forger.
Yeah, not fraud.
Okay.
And that's all I had for this. Trustee Reinders?
Okay.
Just make one correction, actually 2. And under old business in item 2, in the second line, it says the word sheriff is spelled, needs to be corrected, the spelling needs to be correct. And then on the third line from the bottom in that same paragraph, it should say the morale, M-O-R-A-L-E, of the staff and trustees, not moral.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you, Counselor.
Okay. The one thing I wanted to point out with the Mayor Yukich's reports under G, reports and communications,
Wait, hold on, let me get there. Okay.
there were a lot more comments that the mayor made at this point in time that are not included in this report. So if you could just review that and actually add those comments in there. When it comes to my report, you referred
Wait, can you tell me in which, like, what you're referencing, his comments in regards to
a
what?
lot of his comments, that he had made a lot of comments that day, and they're not, none of them are listed in here. None of them.
Okay, I'll just listen to I'll listen to him again.
Okay.
Which will be fun.
Under trustee Reinders, you referred to me as trustee Rogers in here. And also, they promised they would do more something on an individual basis. And basically what I did state was that we would be holding the senior meetings, not the meetings, the senior workshops between here and the Village Hall, that we would basically hold one meeting here and then one at the township, one at the township. So that we would be holding.
The last sentence you're referencing.
Yes.
Okay, so you want me to add, they promised they would do more,
Yes, they promised, yes. We state, what I stated was where it says they promised they would do more something on an individual basis. That doesn't make any sense. But what I did say was that, what I stated was that we will, Sue and I were working on a project for the seniors to be holding individual workshops at the village and at the township. And then there was,
okay, I'll listen to that one too.
there was one more. On page 12 of 13, number 2 under J, what I did state in here that is missing from here is that I said I was very concerned with the health of the mayor, and also because,
I'm sorry, can you just tell me where you're at before I,
on page 12 of 13,
Right.
number 2,
number 2, okay.
under trustee Consolino. If you go down where it says trustee Reiner stated she is very concerned with the health of the mayor, the morale of the staff and the trustees. Basically, what I did say that is that staff is being accused of forging the signature in that area.
Staff is being accused of forging
Right.
the signature, okay.
Yes. And one of the other things I'm not seeing on any of these reports, and I think trustee Pasmino mentioned it, is there is nothing on here from the Will County Sheriff that says he had a report or if he didn't have a report. So on any of these, if he's not going to be giving a report, I would just ask that we include that in there when it comes to public safety, that there is no report.
We talked, Fialco made a point of that a couple of times. I can add it going forward with
Yes,
including these that are not approved yet.
yes.
There's only one time where he gives a report or comment, and it's regarding, I don't know which meeting it is, but it's regarding, you know, the families, the same lot or something like that. And he made a point, so it was like flash on that.
Yeah, but if you go back to our, if you go back to our previous meetings with Lieutenant Holly gave a report. Yeah, he gave a report on every one of our meetings. So whether he had a report or not, we should, moving forward, list that.
I can do that with the attorneys too. If they don't have anything, I'll just add no report.
But yeah, it would be better.
And Carmen, of course.
That be all, trustee Reinders? You have,
That's it for me.
thank you.
Sorry.
Trustee Fialco.
All right, under September 14, 2022, page 4 of 13, under trustee Fialco, when it says Cindy Laha and Sue Stalin, trustee Fialco congratulated Mike Bonomo, Cindy Laha, and Sue Stalin for a successful senior expo event. And then in that last sentence, just that same thing where the fest and the senior expo. So we know what we're talking about, what they were thankful for. Not that that's a big deal. Next one would be page 5 of 13. Right above H, consent agenda, it says trustee Casalino left the dais. If somebody leaves, we usually document that time and then returned at. So if we could include that time, that would be great. Beyond that, let me see. That would be it for me on September 14th.
I had one other typo, and that is on page 5 of 13, in the third, excuse me, the third line, it says signature of Mayor Yukich, comma, to determine whether, that should be W-H-E-T-H-E-R.
Got it.
Got it?
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, trustee Fialco. Moving on to the next one. October 12th, 2022. Trustee Consolino.
All right, on page 2 of 12, Carrie, I just want to make sure that this is the correct, like, phrase, Attorney Horvath stated, this is under E for motion to approve village board meeting minutes. Attorney Horvath stated the proper way would be to reach out to the clerk prior to the meeting and have the adjustments made. Are you comfortable with that?
The proper way,
Carrie stated it in 3 minutes.
No, I know, I said, are you comfortable with how that's?
yeah, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you comfortable with how that's stated? I know.
Oh,
Acoustics.
She's referencing page 2 of 12, where I have it in there.
oh.
I believe trustee Fazmino asked, how should minutes be handled if there was an issue? And Carrie stated, you should reach out to the clerk prior to the meeting and have your changes made prior to the meeting.
I probably said that.
Okay.
Okay. That's probably the best way to do it, so we don't have to
Yep. No,
sit here
I'm
for
just double checking.
6 hours and try to figure it out now.
Okay, just again, more with grammar. Go down to public comment with Angel Shake. Second sentence, Ms. Shake feels, we have been all called, I would say Ms. Shake feels we are a laughingstock.
But she said she felt we have been called a laughingstock. Not
Okay,
that
then
we-
called a laughingstock, not the laughingstock. Or there should be something after laughingstock if you're going to use
I'll
the.
change the to A, that's fine.
Okay, so that's fine. Mr. Porfilio, okay, stated he inherited incomplete, inherited in incomplete, AN. Page 3 of 12, continued from Mr. Porfilio, for this development and, after and, put it has been zoned A1.
Wait, where are you at?
So in between and has, put it.
On page 3?
Page
Oh, I
3,
see. Okay.
very first sentence. Okay, event center has been planned by Homer Township. Okay, by Ron Savara and, okay, after and, please place was formalized in 2020 by an approved referendum that was, okay, and then here's where you're going to cross off approved by referendum in November. Okay, I would just put approved that November.
So he did say approved by referendum, just,
Okay, yeah, and that's what I said. So here, you have it. It's just, you don't need to repeat it twice. Okay, Ron Savara, and was formalized in 2020 by,
oh, that was already corrected. Okay, so let me stop you guys right here. This is where Gina and I realized that she was transferring them over to the S. So you're going to see some changes already made. So
well, we have no way of knowing
that's
that.
why I don't see what you're talking
We
about.
have no way of knowing that. Okay,
Right.
so I would say formalized in 2020 by an approved referendum that was approved that November or in November.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. It was adopted by the township board shortly after. The event center will not be just a pole barn structure. The question is, how do you fund this? Okay, and then this is where, again, there's a lot of sloppiness. They are looking to match grant funding. That's exactly how I would say it. And then one way to go about this is to provide the sale of the current land. I would get rid of, there are 2 ways to go about funding after this. Scratch that out. I would just write, you could also solicit a tax increase via a referendum. Then I would put a dash or a hyphen and say, which they do not plan to do, comma, as it is not allowed in the original bond to the sale, period. You can also float bonds, so add also before float, for 30 years, comma, which will back taxpayers into a corner, period. Capital Y for you can use the revenue from the facility to pay for the bonds, but if you remember COVID, the taxpayers will be responsible to pay for the bonds. And then I would scratch out, Mr. Porfilio wanted to touch base with everyone with his comments, because it's already stated above.
Okay, just for clarification, if a resident says things the way they say them, like you're changing words to make it sound better.
You're summarizing.
I know, but if it's something that they use, the word they specifically use, like for a perfect example, you said remove that they are looking into local match into the local match to the grant funding. Those were his exact
Okay,
words.
I've listened to Brent Porfilio
Yeah.
and how he speaks on this, and a lot of these were repeats. So what it says is garbled, however you want to call it, it does not make sense. And then when you put it on paper, how is somebody supposed to make sense of what they were trying to say?
So that's what
So
I'm
you're
asking you.
summarizing,
So you don't care if the.
and you're
if
not
I
going
change the
verbatim.
words.
You just told us you don't do it verbatim.
No, but
correct?
with something like this, when they're talking details of.
Yes, this is very
A1,
detailed, and
grant
so it
funding,
should be recorded accurately, and that's what I'm
that's- I
trying to
put
help
his
you with the
words down.
grammar.
But that's fine. I will change it.
Okay, so
the way-
you've already told us you don't need to do it verbatim, you don't want to do it verbatim.
Oh, I
It's
don't
fine.
have to. I'm being kind and trying to.
Then I'm being kind too, and I don't want our meeting minutes to look ridiculous, especially when it's about something this important, okay? Under Mike Dean, if you go kind of past the middle, it says, Mr. Dean asked when the thing is. I would say when the event is for the veterans, period. And then I would say, he's been trying to, okay, put period and then say, he has been trying to get information regarding the November 5th event and thinks that it's a great thing. Okay. Mr. Dean stated the board is doing an outstanding job, comma, but would have hoped the mayor would have just left.
That's what I have. Did I miss something?
I was going to say quit, but if the left is exactly how he
That's
said it, then.
exactly his words,
Okay.
correct.
All right, I'm not even going to touch George's stuff, but here, I have a question. Under G, Mr. Keene, it's the very end of the mayor's report. Mr. Keene interrupted and approached the mayor with the Tribune and stated he owns it.
He did do that.
What does that mean?
He stood up out of his chair, walked over to the mayor, whoops, and handed him a Tribune and dropped it on the dais and walked out.
But what does he owns it mean?
That's what he said.
Owns what?
He said, here, you own it. That's what he said. Would you like me to add, he owns the Tribune?
No, I don't, this doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. Anybody else who reads this isn't going to be able to make sense of that. So what is he referring to?
It was the story in the Chicago Tribune.
yeah,
And then he
it was
was
an article.
passing it on, and it was after, I think KDX had come up with the results, and he says, here's the proof, you own it. I believe.
Okay, so then it wasn't correctly said.
It wasn't what?
It wasn't correctly said. If you said, here's the proof, you own it, then the whole statement's not there.
No,
Maybe you
Mr.
should just
Keene,
quote it, put it in quotes, and I think that should cover it.
he said, you own it. I mean, what, I can remove the whole sentence. It's not a big deal. I mean, these are, it's not a big deal. I'm just wanted to have it in there as that's something that happened in the meeting. But I can just remove the whole sentence. It's,
Maybe if you just put in quotes, that way, if it's wrong or not wrong, that's exactly what he said. And then that should cover you, and that
I
should,
can do that too.
right.
I
Okay.
I believe earlier in the day, he asked him if he wanted the article. I have it right here to show you what is being said. And then he walked up to him and said, here's the article, you own it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could be as easy as you going back to the video and just clarifying what he was talking about, I guess. A newspaper article
you
about,
want me just to remove the sentence? It's not a big deal, guys.
to me, it does.
I wouldn't remove it, I mean, because it's something that.
Doesn't make sense.
No, you don't want to remove it. But I think what Trustee Castellino was saying, she just wants clarity as to what he was saying, telling the mayor he owned. And it would have been the newspaper article.
I said he
believe, on
approached the
KDX.
mayor with the Tribune. So you want me to add in there the Tribune, which,
Reflected the story of the
Reflected.
results of the KDX investigation.
There you
you want me to
go.
add that?
That would make much more sense.
And it's Mr. Dean, not Mr. Keene.
That's what I thought, like, so it is Mike Dean. Okay.
It looks like a K. I couldn't hear him on his
No,
microphone.
because in
actually
public
wasn't even
comment
on.
above, it says Dean, so yes,
is,
I
it's
thought,
Dean.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's
So-
Mr. Dean, not Mr. Keene. Thank you. That's, I mean, like, it's too confusing to read that statement and know who it is or what it meant. If you guys want to giggle, if you go to page 6 of 12. Motion number 2, there's no mention of the mayor saying that he didn't want any trick or treating. Should we put that on there?
I would say.
Where are you at? 6 to 12? What number?
Number 2,
Motion to approve the Village of Homer Glen trick-or-treat.
the
Said he didn't
mayor,
want any trick-or-treaters?
the mayor disagreed and said that we shouldn't have any trick-or-treating and that children should just have bags of candy handed to them by their parents.
I do not recall that.
Oh, I remember
I
that.
know, but does that really need to be put into the motion?
I said for giggles,
Oh, okay,
because it's been 2 hours.
all right.
Okay, sorry, we're going back to, Jennifer, are you done?
Okay. Yes, and I don't know how we would put this in there, but I did motion to approve the reimbursement grant award under the Commercial Building Improvement Grant Program to the Phoenix. That is on page 8 of 12.
You did approve?
We did approve it, but I objected, and I was
I have
very
you as a nay.
emphatic about my objection. I would like my objection to be in there, and that I stated that I oppose this due to the fact that they are the only small business who received SOP number 7. So I would like that in there,
Propose
please.
this as they are the only small business, correct?
Yes. Whoever received.
To receive,
Number 7
7.
on page 8 of 12.
to receive the Commercial Building Improvement Grant?
Yes. No, not the commercial, not that grant. It's,
Oppose, oh, so you,
they are the only small business who received SOP number 7. And I said that I didn't agree with them getting another 10,000. You don't have to put all that. It was because they had received.
okay, so oppose as they are the only small business to receive SOP number 7, that's it?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that.
They got both. So that was what I wanted to make sure. Okay, and I think that is, yes, thank God, I'm done with that.
Thank you, Trustee Consolino. I have nothing. Trustee Reinders, did you have anything on this?
Yes, basically, again, going back to George's comments, they're incomplete. There was a lot more that was said under his comment. That's on page 3 of 12. And on page 5 of 12, right above where it says Village Manager Carmen Morella, there was some comments from the mayor and Attorney Horvath continuing on from there, and none of it is listed there.
After,
Right. Right after the paragraph at the top of the page of 5 of 12,
right above Village Manager.
right above Village Manager, there were comments by the attorney and there were comments by the mayor, and none of those.
Which attorney?
It was Horvath.
Okay. Okay, I'll listen to those and add those. October 12th, page 5 of 12, right above Village Manager Morella. Was that it, Rosie?
Yes, that's it.
Esmino, will you point?
I'm sorry.
To me, it's all been covered.
You're good?
I'm good.
Thank you, Trustee Fialco, appreciate it. All right, so that's that one. Going to the next one, October 26, 2022. Trustee Consolino?
Page 4 of 13. Okay, go down to Judy.
Are you talking about where it says Mrs. V?
Well, no, it's not just,
corrected.
her name is spelled wrong.
How do you spell her? I'll give you $1 if you can
So-
spell it without looking at it.
Judy has 3 names.
So how do you spell it?
You put a space in between the van,
So it's VAN space.
and then Lonkhuizen, there's a U instead of an E by the Y.
Okay.
And then that needs to be spelled out in every single thing because she really likes
It is, this is one of the minutes. It's, if I pulled it up on my computer, they would be
Before we go any
corrected.
further, can I just say one thing? There were 3 revisions on this, and I got the original one, I got one that was sent on 1/9/23, and one on 1/10/23. In the future, when we do this, if we could put Rev 1, Rev 2, Rev
Yeah.
3, so I know which one we're on.
Please.
That's what I was saying earlier, is how,
Oh, I didn't hear it, and as far as I know, so for the one that we're talking about right now, should be from 110, am I correct on that?
so can I finish saying what I was saying?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so there's the original set of minutes that I type. I type the motions and, you know, how everyone voted. Then I go back later, listen to your reports, and I type those in. What happened, I work under the W drive. Gina has access to the S drive. So after I make my changes, she prints out or once I make your reports, she prints it out in the S drive, okay? Unbeknownst to me that's what she was doing, because then I'd go and make additional changes after I typed it out.
Has that been corrected now, though?
We just realized that on the, 2 weeks ago,
Carmen,
3 weeks
S
ago?
drive, W drive, and how they interact.
Gina and I
That's
figured it out.
Nothing that Carmen needed to help on, though, in the future?
No.
You're all good?
It's the clerk's office process that was messed up.
Okay.
And to get direction, Christina had to work with.
Okay, so what I'm going back to here is I should have the latest version should be from 1/10/23. How do I identify it as such? What is a change that I would notice that I'm actually on the right one that we're talking about?
So if yours would be the latest correction, where Jen just pointed out where it had Mrs. V or Miss V, hence why she had the V, because I couldn't figure out the spelling of the last name, it would be spelled out completely.
What page are we on?
Page 4 of 13.
413, where are we at?
Under Judy Ban.
Okay, and if it doesn't have the hyphen in there, then,
No, so it should have the full spelling of the name. So,
okay.
yeah, so this isn't the updated one, because I have her name spelled out on the real one, on the.
Okay, so
last-
this is the last one I received, was on 110. I put the date on it when I received it, but, okay.
But that's okay, I mean, if, we
All
probably
right,
already.
as long
have
as
the same
Jennifer's got the
correction.
most updated one that she's,
I don't know.
Well, like, perfect example, that was one that was changed. So continue on, and I'll just let you know if it was changed already or not. Not a big deal.
okay.
Okay. Under Mr. Rhodey. All right. First sentence, 5 parks the village took over. Could you please add from the township?
Where do you want that? Took over from the township?
Okay, and then, hold please, okay. Go to page 6 of 13. Under trustee Pasmino,
Okay.
Mr. Zahor's name is spelled wrong 4 times.
How do you spell?
5. Czahor. You have it once.
I have it right, CZ.
No, you have it once on top, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
CZAHOR, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, that's already been changed.
Okay, all the way through?
Yes.
Okay, I'm good.
There was one under trustee Reinders. It said on he playground, and it should be the, and I changed that.
Okay.
Thank you, trustee Consolino. I have no corrections. Trustee Reinders?
Just, is it necessary on page 5 of 13, where it says, if you go like 3/4 of the way down the paragraph at the top, Mayor, you could state it, I bet if everyone asked in here, how many of you have been beat up by Jennifer on Facebook, and the audience broke out into cheer? Is that really necessary? to
I
have
can
that on
remove
there?
it.
Huh?
Enough.
This is the 26th?
Yes. October 26, page 5 of 13, the audience broke out into cheer. I don't think that.
Where is that at?
Third sentence from the bottom.
Yes,
All right, it's
from
removed.
the bottom of the paragraph. The first paragraph at the top, the third sentence from the bottom.
Got it. I removed it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not.
yeah, I don't really think that's necessary.
Thank you, trustee Reinders.
You're welcome. Where else? I think that's it for me.
And for me, yeah, we can just roll, right?
Go right ahead.
Under absent would be Nicola, under roll call, C.
Where? Oh, on the top of the, where you said it every time?
I'm
You want
sorry.
it changed every time?
Yes, as long as we're going through it, yes, in the future. Page 2 of
Yeah,
13.
I'll fix them all, you don't have to point them
Under roll
out.
call, absent, look to Nicola.
Will.
Other than that, I think everything else has been covered. Thank you.
And just so you know that it was removed, Rose, on my minutes in here. I mean, as a correction
Thank you.
prior.
Trustee Fialco. Moving on to November 9th, 2022. Trustee Consolino.
There's only one thing that I'm uncomfortable about on here. I don't think we should, well, trustee Fialco, you reported who won the election, and then trustee Laha stated the election for Patrick Sheehan was close to call it this time.
I struggled with that myself. I didn't know what to put.
I'm not sure if that's appropriate, that we should be.
But I didn't want to put Fialco's report in there and not have the corrected information, so I struggled with that
What was
myself.
the part you don't think should be in there, though?
Any of it? You want me to take it all out?
I don't know. I don't feel like it's good to be, I mean, like, he was just congratulating people who won, but then trustee Laha stated election for Patrick Sheehan was too close. I mean, I guess it's not considered electioneering because he's just congratulating who
No,
won.
the idea, just so we have it for the record, I was congratulating,
Yeah.
and I actually said it, 3 local candidates
It's in there.
that live in
It's
the
in there.
area.
Yeah, it
She
says it in there.
recorded it the right way.
But what Jennifer's saying is you congratulated Patrick Sheehan, but he did not win at that time.
In the long run, right, we didn't know because all the votes weren't in.
Right, so I had,
So that statement is correct, I think. I mean, it was, too.
Correct statement, I think you
Yeah, it's fine.
just leave it in and
Move on.
it's of no consequence at this point.
was that it?
Do you have anything else, trustee Consolino?
Good on that one. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Jen was absent on this one.
There you go.
I got it.
So
Everyone.
I do have something here for, this was under new business. After the mayor spoke, I gave pretty much a play-by-play on what happened with the road district and how it became the public works and why, and it was a lot of detail that I got into that was completely left out.
These are the minutes I asked you to give me when, at the board meeting, I asked in October, October, November, and December for you specifically, because you went on for quite some bit, and I wanted to make sure I had, in detail, what you wanted, and you never got anything to me, so.
I was hoping you'd give me some of that Brian Caesar detail, but,
I sent it to you, I sent you what I had, and I was waiting for you, so tell me what you,
well, just basically what was, if you could just go over the tape and just, give a play-by-play of what happened, and then I'll just, when you send it, I'll just.
I have in
give
here,
or take
trustee
away.
Piazmino wanted to make it clear for residents, the $1.5 million levy was originally brought upon the residents in 2020 to subsidize, do you see that?
I did see that,
Okay.
but there was a lot more detail,
So
because,
this is a summary of what you said, so if you can I gave you the summary, if you want more detail, I would ask that you provide it for me.
but this was, I spoke twice. This was in the beginning that you put down, there was the part afterwards when I responded to Mayor Yukich's statement. So, but
And I also
if you want on that one, I can go back to that one and I'll send you.
Yeah, because, I mean, I gave the meat and potatoes on it, which I thought, and guys,
Okay.
I'm not purposely trying to leave anything out up for you guys.
So yeah, that's all I had on that one. Trustee Reinders?
On this, on the same thing, I also made a comment as well about the levy, and that's not on here anywhere. But I'm going to go back to, and I'm going to, I'll send that to you as well. Other than that, I'm good.
Thank you, trustee Reinders. Trustee Fialko?
You said you already got the first, C, right, where trustee Castellino is absent on this one?
Yes, Dan.
I thought you did. All right. No, I have nothing in, nothing.
Trustee Reinders and trustee Pesmino, you're going to provide the additional commentary that you made, or is on this particular subject of the levy? Or,
Yes.
I'm just trying to make notes.
Right. For this particular one, I can give her a summary.
Okay.
Yeah.
And trustee Reinders?
Me too, because I know I spoke right after Ruben spoke.
Right.
That would probably be more efficient than going back and forth.
Right.
Just to finish up for myself on November 9, 2022, 3 of 8 under my comments, I never used the word folks, I don't think.
You did, because that's one
I
word.
said 3 local candidates.
No, you said folks, and I struggled with putting that word in, but
Doesn't sound like something I would normally say.
that's okay. You want me to take it out and put candidates anyways? It
If I
doesn't.
said folks, leave it as such. If I didn't, when you review it, change it, please.
Okay,
Other than that, I'm cleared. I'm good on November 9th.
all
Thank
right.
you, trustee Fialko. Going on next to,
Hey, Chairman, can I have a moment?
absolutely, Village
I had a report on this meeting and it was never added. Could we just add the report for myself? I spoke about the veteran celebration and putting packages together where staff was very excited and wanted to help out. And then I also spoke about the Christmas lights being put up and, you know, so the folks can see that. So
He said folks. Okay,
I do say folks.
okay.
That, I'll vouch for that one.
Thank you,
No
Manager
problem,
Morelli.
Carmen.
All right, moving on to the next one, December 14, 2022. Trustee Consolino.
All right. 2:15.
Your name, right?
Nope, not just my name. Where is it?
So if you look at roll call, let's just make sure we're on the right page. The last updated one, after it says President were Mayor Yukich, trustee Ruben Pesmino, it should say trustee Consolino right there. Does yours say that?
No.
Okay, so this is, so you guys don't have the latest updated version, but it's in, I've added it since.
Okay, thank you. All right, on 2:15, down under Mr. Backel, go down to the second part where he says, as many other residents have been verbally abused. As many other residents alleged they have been verbally abused by the.
So he didn't say alleged. So what, Carrie, what do I do in a situation like that? If a resident gets up to speak and says their point of view, and Jennifer, I agree with you, I want clarification, because Brock can easily come back and say, I didn't say alleged. What do I do in a situation like that? A resident came up and said, as many other residents. Now, we know that residents are alleging, but that's not what he said. So what do I put in there? Because that's majority of the issues is,
Well, a lot of what he said is not factual.
I understand. I mean, he could have stood up there and said the sky is
Well, I'm
orange,
asking at the
but
same time with Kerry, if he says stuff that's not factual, and now it's put into the record, I don't know how you handle it.
Well, I don't think it's up to us to make that determination whether it's factual or not. I think what he says goes into the minutes. Whether I like it or not, I do not. I don't agree. But if it's not something that he says,
Well, it depends if the clerk is the one stating it. For example,
Right, if
Brock Backel alleges blank, 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 blank.
right, exactly. But I mean, if it wasn't something that he said, if he didn't say, I
He
am
did, though.
alleging.
oh, he didn't
Was
say the
this
word
the,
alleged, right?
He did
Was
not
this the
say,
gentleman that made the comments and then
Yes.
certain of the board members reminded him that he was not telling the truth?
right.
Correct.
Yes.
Then why don't,
He was allegedly lying.
if you want, why don't you just indicate that after he made his comments, trustees, whoever it was, informed the public that what Mr., what's his name?
Bacco,
Pardon?
Brock Bacco?
Yeah, Mr. Bacco was, I think you called him a liar, but you could say he was not
Yes, but
telling.
I
he was
believe
not
in the
telling
Robert's,
truth.
but in the Roberts rules, Carrie, I believe it says you're
It
not.
doesn't matter what the Roberts rules say at this point in time. We've gone beyond Roberts rules. So why don't you just put something to that effect in, and then that will kind of provide the proper tone for this particular entry. The only other way is to not record stuff that is absolutely abhorrent and untruthful, okay? And that's the only other way to do it. So we've already gone way beyond what Robert's
I
rules
get it,
requires.
but
So I don't want to hear about Robert's rules. Put something in there to
Well, I have to
indicate
state
that the
about
trustees,
Robert's rules, 'cause
that the
that's what I have to go
trustees
by.
indicated to Mr. Mr. whatever his name is, that he was not telling the truth. I think that's a very soft way of repeating what was said to him in response. I think they were offended by that, and at this point, if you're going to include this silliness in the record, then also include the trustee's response. That's my advice.
Your response is nowhere in there.
Okay, no, they're not.
Right, my
so-
response isn't in there at all.
No, nobody's response is in there.
Thank you.
Inform the public, or Mr. Barrett, or whatever his
Bacco.
Bacco.
But not after his statement, just like she did before, a paragraph above all of us.
But you did it in your report.
Right.
You stated in your report. But from what I understood, from how I've always done it, if you guys want to change it, that's totally fine. But it says in the rules that I have to follow that you're not supposed to call someone a liar or rebut that. That's why I did not admit it and submit it. And that is exactly what I just said to you guys earlier today with Mayor Yukic's statement.
There's a remark in one of the prior notes where George called someone a liar.
said
So
that.
let's
I
get
did
off of
say
the,
that, Carrie.
let's
That's
get
why I
off of
said
the
to remove
garbage.
it.
Just put in something to the effect of what I said. That way the law, everybody will be satisfied that what Mr. Barash or whatever his name was saying, Bacco was saying, wasn't, in their opinion, the truth. Boom, over with.
Fine.
Okay, I would love to add that, and then.
Wait, where do you want it added? Under Pasmino?
Well, it should really go, it should.
Right
follow-
before F.
Yeah, it should follow Barack Bacco because that is when Ruben said to him.
It was in his report that he said it.
Right, I responded to, so yeah.
In your report?
My report.
Okay.
So here, he does have, there is an error in his comments because I did watch the video again and waste my time. He called us Republicans. No, he called us the members, the current board members. He didn't say Republicans. He identified
what do you-
himself as a Republican.
That's what I have. Mr. Bacco stated he is a conservative Republican.
So when you get to the other part, all right, as many other residents have been verbally abused by the current board of Republicans. No, current board members.
Okay, you want me to take the word Republicans out?
Yes,
Okay.
because it's not what he said.
I don't know. Okay. Look at it.
I will let the others all go into theirs. All right, so for your trustee report, you have down at the very end, Clerk Netchke Trachey, I think you need to add a hyphen in there. Asked
those are corrected.
Trustee Fialco to stop making false
Consolino.
accusations of her. Yes, that was me that you stated that to.
That's been corrected already.
Okay. And then, under Attorney Horvath, second sentence, the meeting was set forth, was to set forth the procedures to address the objections that have been filed against the candidate, or you could put a candidate that filed for the April election. It's not plural.
I've lost you here. One of the individuals present?
Okay, one of the individuals present at the meeting asked Mr. Horvath who is allowed to serve on the electoral board, not as the electoral board.
Okay.
Mr. Horvath stated he sent an email to the mayor, and the state statute, not state statute.
Oh, got it.
Okay, then you go further down. Attorney Silverman stated he received the email briefly before walking into, into the meeting, and after further review, We'll give him an answer as soon as possible. I think you need Attorney Harvitt asked to finish his comment, period. All right.
Was there any changes you wanted made? Because I have all that.
Nope, no. I don't know. How would I know that you've made those changes?
Well, I'm reading what you're reading, so I'm asking if you
that's why
have
I'm-
changes.
Okay. Carrie, I have on here that I need you to clarify this one. So it would have to do with the very last sentence, starting on the page of 5 of 515. In this situation, trustee Pasmino would then serve next. However, he is running for office and does not qualify for the electoral board. In this instance, a lottery was conducted instead of contacting the circuit court of Will County, the chief judge's office, to appoint a public member to sit on the board. That doesn't sound right to me because I thought
What
the lottery
what I
illegal.
said was, in this instance, a lottery was conducted to select the next member, okay? Now, I don't know if I said to select the next member.
Okay.
But what the procedure is the proper procedure is to contact the circuit court. There should not have been a lottery. So
I would like it to reflect that.
You could say, in this instance, a lottery was conducted to select the next member of the electoral board, instead of contacting the circuit court of Will County, Will County, to appoint a public member to sit on
Thank
the
you.
board. Okay?
So Will County instead of country.
Okay.
Debbie, all, trustee Consolino?
Where is, okay, no. No, not under, okay. So I'm at 6 of 15, so I'm like, where is the entire conversation with the clerk regarding the alleged requests by trustee Laha for changing the scheduled dates? Remember that?
I
With the
do.
committee?
I do.
Okay, it ain't on there.
You want me to add that I stated?
You made that request needs to be on there.
Okay.
And then on the next page of 7 of 15, you wrote down that trustee Fialco amended the motion to change January 3rd, 2023 to January 10th, 2023 for Ability Awareness Committee, seconded by trustee Pasmino. Again, this is incomplete, and there is no mention again that you are the one that requested this.
I can't make the request as I'm
But
the
you
clerk.
did.
Right, but you want me just to put,
Yes, it has to be reflected in the record. It was
Otherwise,
not,
I wouldn't have done it, I think is what she.
Nicole
that's fine,
Laha
that's fine.
said that she didn't request that, so
No,
it has to be
that's-
reflected who did then in the minutes.
No, she did request that, and we can have her
Not here,
admit that.
We're not here,
Though she's just
and
saying.
she's
put it
not
into
here.
the record.
Yeah, but truth should be told here. So, okay, that's fine.
that's the truth. You were the one who requested it on the board.
Okay.
Okay, and then something got screwed up with, I'm pretty sure, on page 11 of 15. Okay. This was my report, so I wanted this included for the record, okay. This was my commentary on the vote, okay? You need to write that. This was commentary on the vote. I'm sorry, I'm on 11 of 15?
So after where I have
So it
trustee
shouldn't be put
Reinders.
trustee Consolino wanted this included. You should write, this was trustee Consolino's commentary on the above vote for the tax levy.
Okay.
And then on 12 of 15, you need to cut off after please enjoy your holidays, and you need to move, when we sat here a year ago, all the way down, and my thing got cut off. So that is all part of what I addressed in old business.
It's not cut off, it's on the next page. You're talking about where it says this was never meant to be a temporary
Okay,
tax?
yes.
It's on the next page. So you want that all removed?
No, I want that all moved under old business. Because that's when I discussed it, was under old business. So from when we sat here a year ago to that last sentence on the next page of, I also requested that the mayor and others stop making this false comment, okay? That all needs to go under old business. And then on 13 of 15,
Wait, if you give me 1 second, I just
It's
want to
okay.
check something real fast. Okay, it is under old, but that's fine. You wouldn't know that.
yes.
so-
But I usually had it in my report. So under workshop, under 13 of 15, I'm sure other people would appreciate this added in there too. So after where you say the consensus of the board was to bring this back to the residents and host a public hearing stakeholder workshop with the residents. I would add to that and say due to the fact the developers said that this could include apartments instead of condos. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Was that the only reason?
Do you guys want to add on that one?
Because I thought there was more, but if you just
No,
want
it's
that
pretty,
one
I
reason.
mean, that pretty much sums it up. And then I also felt under old business, number 2 for trustee Reinders, and I'll let you elaborate on that, because I have its incomplete info.
What page?
14 and 15. Okay, so trustee Reinders stated, we will no longer host ribbon cuttings on the day of the board meetings. And she explained, you explained why. Remember, because it's just impossible, like that we're having it on the second date of whatever.
So you want the reason why?
Yes,
Okay.
because she's not the one who chose that.
No,
And I'm done with that.
Thank you, trustee Consolino. For mine, if you could just, on my report, add the rebuttal to Brock Backel for the record. That's all I had on mine. Trustee Reinders?
there was only one typo that I saw so far, and that was on page 11 of 15. Halfway down the page, it says Homer Glen, this is how we come to round 3 of our public,
Page 11 of 15, you said, I'm sorry?
yeah, page 11 of, 15. This is how we come to round 3 of our public works tax levy. I'd love to abolish the levy. I really would. The majority of my board,
That would be a
yeah,
report from Jennifer. Jennifer, would you
Yeah,
mind
just
if
a
I change your typo?
yeah, it's just a typo. Other than that, I had more to say on where it says at the very top of the page, where it says trustee Reinders stated the levy has not been raised in the last 2 years. I believe that I had in there that the mayor wanted to increase the levy. I think I said, Mayor, do you recall that last year you and Beth Rogers wanted to increase the levy 158%?
So you want me to add the mayor, trustee Reinders stated that the mayor wanted to increase the levy 158%?
Yes.
Okay.
The mayor and Beth Rogers.
Mayor and Beth, okay.
That's all I have.
All righty.
Trustee Fialko?
Moving on, for me, under page 5 of 15, under trustee Fialko, middle sentence, I guess, at the end, the first time in 21 years, what I did say is for the first time in 21 years, the village of Homer Glen now has invocation. And if, with the way the sentence is structured there, it just says the first time in 21 years, the village.
Okay.
5 of 15, Carrie?
All righty.
Okay. Also for me, the rebuttal to the public comment of the former trustee.
Okay. Rebuttal to
You can here, and you can summarize it. You don't have to put every word that I said. I don't care.
Okay.
Jennifer, you got that one?
I think that's it for me.
All right, under old business, I talked about, since we became board members, when we started, there were a lot of empty storefronts. And since we've been in office for, I believe I said 19 months, if you look around, you can see the Village Square by Jewel is 100% occupied now. And I talked about the last store that went in over there that was Polk. So when we just say it here, the vacant stores, the old Village Square area, and it doesn't really say what I said. So if we could listen to that maybe and just summarize it where it includes what I was actually talking about.
Okay.
And then that would be it for me on December 14th.
All right, so are we going into executive session? No? No? Okay. All right, so there'll be no action today. We're all going to basically get an email from the clerk with all the summed up summary before the next board meeting for a soft approval and then a formal approval at the next board meeting for these minutes, correct? Correct. We hope. All right. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much, folks. We'll see you at the next one. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, sir.